said I was a footnote, background noise, a misfit, unimportant, too loud. Funny how that turned to kismet. Me and my truth, we sit real still, no sirens, let them scream in the daylight. Truth don't need alignment. I didn't want the headline, I saw the pattern. Opening my mouth made the whole room shatter. Try to keep it measured, flashing warning signs. Every time I spoke the truth, they called it crossing lines. I stayed out of the spotlight, studied every thread. Watched the story bend while they counted what I said. Never chased the platform, never begged the crowd. I was mapping all the quiet while they weaponized the loud. Not a drunk, but you can call me boozy. There's a lot more here than simple beauty. It's my time, I'm showing you the real me. Formally introducing Boozy Beauty. Boozy Beauty. Boozy Beauty. Boozy Beauty. Daily in the gym, yeah, I build this body, but don't confuse the muscle with the mind inside me. Got the ladies watching when I teach that beauty, but the real flex is knowing exactly who I'm proving is deeper than loose, deeper than likes. I'm sharpening language, intellect precise, full plate, firm lines, boundaries set. I light my soul up, I don't need their respect. While they were boxed in, marks, heart clean, bold lies. I was face down, boxed in, hit from all sides. If they look beneath the noise, they see I never wanted fame, just wanted pat on the scene. Not a drunk, but you can call me boozy. There's a lot more here than simple beauty. It's my time, I'm showing you the real me. Formally introducing Boozy Beauty. Boozy Beauty. Boozy Beauty. Boozy Beauty. Snakes in the grass slithering in my phone. I walked out clean when the silence hit home. Diamond in the rough, no filter, no scene. Funny how the dirtiest hands claim pristine. Not a drunk, but you can call me boozy. There's a lot more here than simple beauty. It's my time, I'm showing you the real me. Formally introducing Boozy Beauty. Boozy Beauty. Boozy Beauty. Boozy Beauty. You can call me boozy. Raising black, rising beauty. I've been here, now you finally see. Say it right, Boozy Beauty. Boozy Beauty. Boozy Beauty. Boozy Beauty. Boozy Beauty.
Hi, everybody. Chat is already going wild. Hello. It is a beautiful Saturday afternoon here in Norfolk County. And look at all of us just hanging here inside because it's too hot. Although today's kind of nice out. It's low humidity. Hi, everyone. Okay, if you don't know me, I go by the name Boozy Beauty. Hopefully this microphone is on. It looks like it's on. And I am from Norfolk County, and I think that's all I need to say about that, right, folks? A lot has been happening in the week that I've taken off for the holiday and some other things going on. I did celebrate the wedding of Taylor Swift. I was not invited, but that's okay. And I've done some minor changes to the StreamYard of it all. So I hope you guys like the new background, as well as for my very amazing supportive members. You guys have a new emoji. I finally was able to upload one. See, here's a little background when it comes to some of the behind the scenes things. YouTube will limit like how many like pixels or megabytes, millibytes that these emojis have to be. And apparently I like mine too big. So I always have to like dull them down. But if you look up in, I forget what corner it is, I've got one of the emojis I wanted you guys to have, but YouTube was like, no, that's too fancy. So now my cute little detective girl is one of my logos. But hi, chat. Hello, wherever you are coming in from. Let me just know and tell you that I appreciate you wherever you are. If you're here watching live, or if you're doing this on replay crew. I keep messing that up every time. Replay crew. Love you, love you, love you. Let me say hi to the chat, and then we're going to get into it. We've got a lot, folks. So I'm limiting to, I can't talk today. Mercury is still in retrograde. I am limiting this to what I put as the topic. And by the way, if you hear any background noise, that is my elder dog eating. So please excuse him while he eats his medications. So let me say hi to chat for a sec, and then we'll get into it. We've got Colin Albert, as well as Michael Proctor deposition drama. We've got a good update on the Massachusetts State Police email saga. Don't worry, I'm going to catch you up on everything. The Brian Tully of it all. We've got a lot. We've got a lot. So let me say hi to chat for a sec. Replay crew, feel free to fast forward a little bit, or you can just, hang while I say hi to some of the crew. Oh my God, Mars is in microwave. That's right, Cuzco. That's right. That's right. All right, I already see some starred stuff. So let me say hi to some new members. Amazing. I love you guys so much. Thank you, Standing Stones. I'm going to say this, like, having been a watcher on YouTube for some time, seeing so many of the familiar names and usernames, even if you just comment and we kind of chit chat back and forth in the various live streams that I pop into when I can, and to see you guys come in here now really is so, like, it's a whirlwind. I never thought that you guys would actually like to watch me. So trust me when I say this, like, I'm going to be gushy again. I really do appreciate you all, whether you're here live, just watching because you don't feel comfortable commenting, totally okay. Just know that it doesn't go unnoticed, like I always tell you guys. So hi, Stones. Thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate you. I think that's Rebex, RVKS. I think. Thank you for becoming a member. Casually Kiki, thank you for becoming a member. Another name that I'm familiarized with. Nanny Doo, thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate you. And Yacht Today, Satan. Oh my God, wait, that is a great username. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you guys for becoming members. I am planning a members live soon. I'm going to put out a poll on my community tab to see when you guys want to have your first members only live stream. I know I kind of have people from all around the world that are into this. So I want to see when and if I can try to get as many people for the live stream for members only. So I'm going to put out a poll for you guys just so we can kind of try to have everyone intertwined, try. I'll try as much as I can. Oh my God, Brigitte. Thank you for gifting 5 memberships. Thank you for opening the tab, everyone. I keep forgetting to say that. I purposely made my membership names fun and cheeky, and then I forget to actually call them out. But yeah, I hope you guys like the new emoji because that took me forever to finally get up. All right, let's say hi to chat. Oh my God, Carrie, I know. Isn't it so cute? You guys seriously are so creative. Like, you guys crack me up. Johnny Lunchbucket says, boozy in a Saturday afternoon. Can it get any better? I think not. Oh my God, you're the best. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Everyone's saying thank you to Brigitte, whoever got those 5 memberships. I love it. I love all the names too, Ms. Harmony. Like, they crack me up. Making changes. Hey, friend. Hey, hello. We got, Kimberlina. Is that your real name? Because that's beautiful instead of just Kimberly. Not that there's anything wrong, Kimberly, but Kimberlina. Beautiful. I know Tammy's like, one day I'll be able to do a membership. You don't have to, truly. Just seriously, just being here and chatting is like, even just watching. That's all that I'm grateful for. And like I said, you don't have to comment because I know there's many in the county that don't feel comfortable commenting, and that's okay. You're still welcome here. We're going to go over as much as we can in layman's terms. You guys know that I like to be as objective as I can, given the state of Norfolk County. I think just Massachusetts in general right now. But yeah, you guys are amazing. Oh my God, what else just happened? Oh, goodness gracious. Luna's mom gifted 10 Boozy Boot. Oh God, I even messed up my own username. See, even it gets me. It even gets me. That's why in the song, one of the lyrics at the end is like, say it right, Boozy Beauty. I even mess up my own username. But thank you, Luna's mom, for gifting 10 memberships. So appreciate that. And I know the 10 friends in chat also do appreciate that as well. And then we also have Kate Cray Bill. Thank you for becoming a member. Thank you. And I do plan on having the members only sometimes in the next like 2 weeks, because I know I think my first YouTube live stream was like a week and a half ago. So I want to make sure that you guys get that experience before whoever has a gifted membership kind of like goes away. Just so you guys can see what the members' lives are going to be like. They're going to be fun. If you've ever chatted with me in person or know anything tiny bit a little bit about me, we like to have fun. We like to have gram. Yeah, literally turning the chat green. This is crazy, Otto. This is crazy. Okay, so where do we want to start? There's so freaking much. There's so much we need to chat about. Oh, Boozy, I appreciate your written updates. Thank you. And that's the thing too. If I can't get on live or attempt a video for you guys, I do try to make posts, and I do simultaneous Mercury's in retrograde. I give up. I do try at the same time, try to do Twitter and then also share it to YouTube, because I know a lot of you guys on YouTube do not venture over to Twitter X. Again, completely understandable. I get it. I totally understand that. I get it. Yes, thank you for the updates. Appreciate you guys. Okay, so I think where I want to start, where do I want to start? Because there's so much to talk about. Yesterday, if you were on the Twitter of it all and you follow the filings in the various Karen Reed, Norfolk County matters, I think a lot of us, our heads were popping, locking, dropping, to say the least. So I didn't want to go live yesterday because I needed a day to just kind of mull some of these things over. And to be completely honest, I have not read every single thing because it's a lot. Especially the motion to dismisses, I have not read yet. I plan on reading them tonight, and maybe I can go live tomorrow to also cover those. But I think where I want to start is with a little positivity amongst all the craziness. You guys know how I am. I like to ground you guys. So let's start with, let me pull up my media assets. Hang on one second, guys. All right, let me see. I uploaded all of these last night and I forget what they are. So please forgive me for 2 seconds while I remind myself what my TikTok videos are. Now the supervisor of Michael Proctor. Okay, that's where I want to start. Okay, good. I want to start with some good news first. So let's talk about Brian Tully. If you don't know who Brian Tully is, or if you forget, because there's a lot of players when it comes to the Norfolk County of it all. Brian Tully is a now retired lieutenant from the Massachusetts State Police. He was a detective lieutenant, but there was an internal affairs investigation opened up by the Massachusetts State Police because of his lack of supervision to who, chat? Michael Proctor. Oh, Michael Proctor. So after that internal affairs investigation, he did end up getting demoted and he was pulled out of Norfolk County. And if you don't really know how the state police work within the various district attorney county of it all, basically there's like a subset of the state police that are working in conjunction with that county's district attorney's office. So if you want to think of like totem pole, and I say this in the video that I'll show you guys, if we think Michael Proctor is low on the totem pole, right, then one of his next supervisors was Yuri Buchanan, who, by the way, opened up his Twitter and immediately blocked me. He went on a blocking streak, which the running joke around here is I block everyone. Usually by accident, but he went on a blocking spree and he probably has more people blocked than I do, which says a lot. But anyways, so if you think like Michael Proctor is on the lower totem pole, aka the slaughter pig, then went Yuri Buchanan, and then above Yuri Buchanan went Brian Tully. So Brian Tully really was the one who was in consistent communication with someone like the district attorney, Michael Morrissey. So that's kind of how that worked. The thing, a little tidbit I do want us all to remember, even though Brian Tully was pulled out of the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office, which was before the second trial of Karen Reed, he was still able to work on the case, which I always found odd, because if he had a lack of supervision to his subordinates, then how is he able to still work on these cases? You know what I mean? Like, he should have just been like pulled off all completely, like altogether, in my opinion. So I want to start with some good news. So I'm going to start with a video regarding Brian Tully to catch us all up. If you're not familiar with my TikTok, it's my same username. If you're on the app, I understand some of you aren't. That's okay. And what I like to do in these videos is try to jam pack as much as I can in like a 5-minute video, as much as I can. Thank God TikTok now allows 10-minute videos, which I try not to get that long. But some of these instances have to be longer videos in order to go through it. And also, too, I did not want to be talking about Brian Tully for 30 minutes and going through all of the filings. So I jam-packed all of the filings up until this past week. So let's get into Brian Tully of it all. I'll be keeping an eye on my chat. I'm sure you guys are doing fine. And let's get into it. Let me move my tuchus over. All right. Now the supervisor of Michael Proctor also doesn't want to be deposed by Karen Reed.
What, if anything, did you as a supervisor, what, if anything, did you do?
I had a long discussion with him about the content and nature of them. I expressed my displeasure as unprofessionalism and the content of them, and then I reported up my chain of command.
Was he admonished in any way?
He was by me at that conversation, yes.
Brian Tully was the detective lieutenant out of the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office state trooper. I know it can be a little bit confusing because there's a lot of players in this, so where Brian Tully lays, if you think of Michael Proctor on the totem pole, he's lower. Above him would have been Yuri Buchanan. Then above Yuri Buchanan was Brian Tully. There was an internal affairs investigation opened up in regard to how Tully supervised Proctor, to which he was found guilty of not properly supervising Proctor, to which he not only was demoted because of this, but also he was taken out of the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office. And now he is being sued by Karen Reed in his personal capacity, which is the lawsuit against the House defendants that is in the federal court. But this deposition he's now fighting is in the O'Keefe versus Karen Reed / Canton Bars lawsuit. So this all begins on February 3rd, 2026, when Karen Reed noticed her depositions where Brian Tully was on this list. Then on April 3rd, in the federal manner where Brian Tully himself is being sued, he files his motion to dismiss against Karen Reed. This filing in particular becomes one of the reasons why he thinks he shouldn't have to sit for the deposition in the O'Keefe versus Karen Reed / Canton Bars lawsuit. 1 month later, on May 5th, Karen subpoenas Tully for his deposition, where they state that he has a document due date by June 1st with the deposition scheduled on June 11th. In regards to the documents Karen is requesting, again, it's all of the same things regarding her, John O'Keefe, the investigation, her SUV, 34 Fairview, the witnesses, yada yada. You get it by now. On May 19th, Tully's attorney accepts service on his behalf, but states that the deposition date will not work, which we can see in these emails where Tully's attorney says he's not available for June 11th. Then Charles Waters, who's one of Karen's attorneys, states that July 8th will work. Please confirm. And Tully's attorney confirms for July 8th deposition of Brian Tully. As you can see, per those emails, there were no objections for Tully to sit for this deposition. And per Massachusetts law, if there were going to be anything objection-wise when it comes to this deposition, they had until May 29th to file any issues. And guess what his team didn't do? File any objections. You see this here in Karen's opposition, where she states that Rule 45 requires a written objection to the subpoena within 10 days of service. Here, that period for objection expired on May 29th, by which Tully did not serve any objection. And then randomly, on June 18th, for the first time, Tully sent an email attaching a Rule 45 objection and a motion to quash the subpoena. Tully's reasonings for not being deposed in the O'Keefe versus Karen Reed / Canton Bars lawsuit is very much aligned to what Michael Proctor tried and failed. He really tried two arguments. Number one, he's already being sued federally in the Karen Reed versus everyone lawsuit, basically saying that Karen shouldn't be able to use the O'Keefe lawsuit to get discovery before discovery starts in the federal court. And number two, the documents that Karen wants are too broad and too burdensome, and that they want everything to be cut down. To which Karen's team was like, okay, cool, but here's the deal. There is not a rule or practice, and Tully does not cite any, that allows a subpoenaed witness to dictate the discovery schedule and the issuance of stays for a case. Further, if he had any objections to any of the documents, he could have just talked to us, but guess what Tully's attorney didn't do? Talk to them. There also was a little bit of snark coming from Karen's team because clearly Tully has been watching what's going on with the rest of the depositions and all the fights in regards to Colin Albert, Michael Proctor, Jen McCabe, Matt McCabe, Brian Albert, Brian Higgins, yada yada. So this almost feels like yet another Hail Mary to try to delay this deposition. And then out of the blue, Tully's attorney files this non-party witness Lieutenant Brian Tully's motion for leave to file a corrective memorandum in which they said in a previous filing, they cited a case that is not actually a case. So no idea if they have AI writing their memorandums and their filings, but that was just like, what the hell? And then, of course, without a hearing or anything, Judge Gildea makes a ruling on Brian Tully's deposition and the documents he must produce to Karen Reed. Where he agrees the documentation should be narrow. He agrees with Karen's team that if there was an issue regarding the documents, Tully's team should have reached out. However, he also does a little bit of spiciness against Karen Reed because he thinks there was some miscommunication here, and he literally says that faced with an apparent lack of communication by both sides and the choice between what may be considered two extremes, I chose the one I find to be more reasonable. He does not agree with Tully's side where they stated that he shouldn't be deposed because there's a pending federal matter and that he should sit for this deposition because it was agreed upon per all these emails, where Judge Gildea states, a judge has the power to manage discovery, but do not stand for the proposition that the state court proceedings should be stayed as a result of the federal proceedings. Even if I were inclined to do so, the impending discovery deadline in this matter, this lawsuit, would dissipate any such inclination. AKA, Brian Tully still has to hand over documents. It will be a narrowed scope, which is what we're seeing constantly in this case, as well as sit for this deposition. Just like what everyone else is seemingly doing, this was just a delay tactic. It's now becoming clear what every single individual is doing here. And it's obvious that Judge Gildea is not having any of it. He's still making every single one of these people sit for the deposition. Now, when it comes to Jen McCabe, Matt McCabe, Brian Albert, Nicole Albert, Brian Higgins, how do you think he's going to feel about those? Valid question, little boozy. So those were all of the Brian Tully filings except for one, because after I made that video, or I must have missed this. So let me pull up another filing in regards to the Brian Tully of it all. It's like, I say this all the time to you guys. This is the ish that never ends. Yes, it goes on and on, my friends. Okay, pulling this up for us. This was not ruled on. Not. So before anyone is like, this was ruled on, I checked the docket right before I went live. Brian Tully's team filed this. And I don't know if anyone's gone over this. I also am behind on all of my favorite LawTubers live streams. So prior to Tully sitting for the deposition, he filed this motion of non-party witness Lieutenant Brian Tully, retired. Notice how it doesn't say Detective Lieutenant, because he was demoted. For protective order governing oh God, it's going to be a day. Oh God, chat. Just roll with me. Just roll with me. Motion of non-party witness Lieutenant Brian Tully, retired, for protective order governing deposition. What do you think he is trying to pull in this filing? just like Michael Proctor. Well, we don't want anything leaked about us, and you need to follow these rules and la 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 la. It's like the same old song and dance, and we'll get into this a little bit when it comes to Colin and Michael Proctor, specifically more of Michael Proctor, where things are trying to be pinned on Karen Read in regards to leaking to social media and all of the things, which frankly is bogus, which again, we'll get into. But the portion of this that I did want to specifically go over, I mean, obviously he's going to say that he has he's Lieutenant Tully's status as a named federal defendant, as if that means anything in the state case, because as a reminder, this is being filed in the O'Keefe versus Karen Read / Canton Bars lawsuit. That is where all of these depositions are happening currently. That's why there's so much movement in this case versus not so much in the other cases. So that's one of his defenses. But then this one, letter B, risk of unauthorized public dissemination. Let's read this together. At the July 2nd, 2026 hearing, this court made findings that sealed materials submitted in connection with a non-party witness's deposition related filings were disseminated publicly on social media within 30 minutes of being filed and distributed to counsel. Again, we will get into that in a little bit. But do you see how if one party is going to say something and then the judge leaps to something, now everyone else is going to say the same things in their filings? He goes on. The court issued an order pausing discovery involving that witness, directed all parties and counsel to submit sworn certifications regarding the leak. He should have put leak in quotations, and warned that failure to comply with confidentiality obligations would result in contempt and sanctions. This court identified the environment in which this litigation proceeds as one in which, quote, the courtroom has become content, end quote, and cautioned all counsel against using social media to influence the case. Well, in my opinion, I think they all have tried to use social media to influence the case, because that is what happens in this day and age. Everyone does it. Literally all of the big cases now, Idaho 4, Corey Richards, what are the other big cases? Like they all do it. They all do it. Goes on to say, and this, I think this quote may come to bite Tully in the behind come the future. Lieutenant Tully is a high-profile figure in the Read matter. Oh, is he now? Which just makes him that much more important for all of the depositions, for all of the discovery and documents to hand over. If you consider Lieutenant Tully a high-profile figure, that just makes it that more important. That is like a shot in their own foot, FYI. I guarantee you that's going to come in the future, be it in future filings or next year, come 2 years from now in another matter. That's going to bite him. Because not for nothing, you know, I know a lot of you guys that watch all of these filings and the various trials are familiar with who Lieutenant Brian Tully is. However, when it comes to the general public, Tully is not really all that well known. When you really think about the officers who are like, quote unquote, the most well known, Proctor has always been, because he's a slaughter pig, has always been that kind of top dog that the media and all of us talk about, right? Brian Tully, not so much. And he kind of slipped through the cracks a little bit, unless you really paid attention to all of the cases. So to say now that he's a high profile figure, don't toot your own horn. Because if you want that attention, trust that attention can come to you. Ask Sean Good. Ask Sean Good how he's doing with all the attention. Oh well, that's what you get for being a trash bag. He goes on to say, the risk that his deposition testimony, if not protected, will be immediately disseminated publicly, posted to social media, and used to influence public perception of this case and the parallel federal proceedings is not speculative. No, it is speculative. Because just because you're going to sit for a deposition and hand over discovery does not mean someone's going to come out and leak it. Again, this is all about a leak that didn't happen. We'll get to it. It is demonstrated by this conduct that this court has already found to have occurred wrongfully, in my opinion. A protective order restricting the dissemination of Lieutenant Tully's deposition testimony is directly responsive to the problem this court identified at the July 2nd hearing and is consistent with the broader confidentiality framework the court has directed the parties to establish. Wah. People don't like some of us, and they're telling other people who have platforms. Wah. I need to get something with like the world's teeniest, tiniest violin. I need to make that an emoji because it's ridiculous. So it's essentially like, you know, he went through the internal affairs investigation, which I just went over briefly with you guys. He doesn't want that to come out either, which, by the way, we can public records request that. So even though whoever's deposing him, whichever attorneys are in that room, because it's not just Karen Reed that's going to be there, right? Can't blame everything on Karen Reed and her team as much as you all want to. Not you guys in chat, but the ether. That means everyone. However, he was a public servant. And guess what? When your salary is paid by taxpayer dollars and you get in trouble because he was found guilty of not properly supervising Michael Proctor, that can go on the public record. So again, it's like some of these things are all workaroundable when it comes to public records requests, which we've already seen prior, because if you remember, one of the first hearings where we saw Michael Proctor's attorney, DeGangi, the whole attorney Rosemary Scapiccio, the one that went viral where she stood up there and was like, yep. And Proctor said, it's unalive and N-word in Canton Day. Why are we protecting him? That whole thing. Remember, Proctor's attorney was like, yeah, they leaked the whatever, frick, I can't remember at this point. And it wasn't even a leak. It was a public records request. Was that a Corey Publix request? I think that might have been a Corey Hopkins public records request. I think. But anyways, this is just him crying on and on and on about how he thinks things are going to be leaked and the federal action is so important and that needs to be protected. Again, the federal action has no bearing on the state proceedings. Like Judge Gildea literally just ruled that the other day. So here's what he's asking of Judge Gildea. Lieutenant Tully's deposition testimony and transcript thereof may be used solely in connection with this wrongful death action and may not be used, disclosed, or disseminated in any parallel civil, federal, or administrative proceeding, including but not limited to Karen Reed versus Proctor at all, absent further court order of this court or the court presiding over such parallel proceeding. There's some legal things going on with that argument-wise that is bogus. And again, with this whole other stuff going on with Judge Gildea, which we'll get into another time with him wanting all the attorneys to come to an agreement over quote-unquote leaking things. Tully, as you can see, is just feeding right into, I guess you want to call it fear. It's not really fear of Judge Gildea. Lieutenant Tully is also asking that his deposition testimony and any transcript thereof may not be posted to social media. None of them have. Published on any public platform. None of them have. Or disseminated to any person who is not a party. Again, none of them have. Counsel of record, retained expert, or court reporter in this action. Again, that's not going to be a problem. any portion of Lieutenant Tully's deposition testimony or exhibits touching upon his Massachusetts State Police personnel records, disciplinary proceedings, or other matters shall be designated confidential and subject to the same restrictions as impounded material under the court's existing orders. Bet. We don't need to get a majority of those things from Karen or the O'Keefes or anyone else. Again, that is a matter of public record. So Karen and all the other attorneys and all the other parties, if Judge Gildea was to allow this, can't quote unquote give it to, like, you know, a journalist or the media. But guess what the media can do? Request it. Like, this is insane. This is insane. He's also asking the deposition transcript shall be treated as confidential in its entirety, pending further order of this court, and shall be filed under seal if submitted to the court in connection with any motion or proceeding in this action, and violation of any provision of this order shall be subject to sanctions, including contempt. Still trying to get Karen Reed. Consistent with the framework the court has established for discovery conduct in this case. Wow. Wow, Tully. And then signed his union attorneys, because that's what's happening here. He has union attorneys. Okay. Exit out of that. Wild. Wild. I like this. Yeah. Okay. Crazy, guys. Crazy, guys. Brian Tully has his hands in everything. Everything. You know what I mean? It's even more than that. Because remember, Tully was essentially the boss of all of the boys underneath him. And I like to, you know, lovingly call them Morrissey's boys. He was the one that they were supposed to go to. So even things like Sandra Birchmore, you know what I mean? His hands are in so much of the Norfolk County of it all. Like, it's just crazy. It's crazy. Quick minor break to say thank you to Kim. Kim is Ladybug. Thank you so much for gifting 5 Boozy Beauty memberships. I appreciate you, Kim. Another familiar name. Commonwealth Decoded. Oh, thank you. Good evening. Watching live from the UK. Love it. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad this time worked for you. I know it's kind of an odd timing, but I just kind of threw it out there to see how you guys liked it. Oh, thank you, Otto. Oh my God, you guys really are making the chat green. Oh my God, I love this. I wish I could make you guys pink. Although I don't know if all of you guys, like, I don't know if a lot of the men would like the pink, but I like the pink. Thank you, Otto, for gifting 5 memberships. I appreciate you. Luna's mom. Oh my God. I am always watching, never in chats, but support creative and amazing people like you. Thank you. Your integrity is admirable. I will disappear now because I trust that you have all the BS in check. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Like, that's too kind. Too kind. Thank you, Hope, for gifting 5 memberships. Thank you. Thank you. Oh my God, this is crazy. This is crazy. I need to make like a sound that's like make it rain. If I wouldn't get pulled for pulling like playing a little bit Lil Wayne, I would totally make that one of my sounds. But YouTube doesn't like that. Thank you, Diane, for gifting 5 memberships. You guys are so incredibly generous with your time and your funds. I honestly really do appreciate you guys. And my friend Colleen, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. You guys are incredible. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Okay, so the good news, because I know some of you are like, you said you had good news. I know some in chat already know. Well, good news, even with that filing from Brian Tully, again, like I said, that has not been ruled on yet. Brian Tully did end up sitting for his deposition. A waste of time. A waste of time for all of the attorneys, all of them. Money and time. All those filings back and forth, just for Tully to end up being like, damn. All right, I guess I gotta sit for this deposition. Which also is confusing to me because he sat for the deposition. However, it sounds like Karen's team didn't get any of the documents that she was asking for. So, like, again, we go back to the issue. It's like, okay, cool, you're sitting for the deposition. Cool, you fought all of this and wasted resources, which again, I think is purposeful. But then he ended up sitting in the deposition. Not only did Brian Tully sit for the deposition, but guess what? Guess what? Someone else who was fighting his deposition, because no one wants to be deposed. No one wants to be deposed. Brian Higgy Bear. Brian Higgins. Mr. ATF agent. He also sat for his deposition. Again, all that fighting. And like, just so you know, behind the scenes with the filings and the whatnot, I don't think it's that important to really pull up every single little thing. The emails back and forth between Higgins and his team, I should say their team, because if you're unfamiliar, Higgins, Alberts, McCabe's all share the same attorneys, which every single law tuber has said is going to be ending up to be a conflict of interest eventually, which is something that I've been saying. I don't know how much longer he's going to be able to be with these attorneys, because the Alberts and McCabe's are family. Higgins is the outlier in all of this. Like, I get it's expensive. I get it. Maybe sell one of your like 20 cars, Higgins. I don't know. If you haven't already, I'm just assuming you still have all those vehicles. He's going to end up needing his own attorney eventually. But these emails back and forth was like, Higgins is not available. Oh, wait. He's only available for 2 dates. I think the 2 dates they gave Karen's team was like July 29th and July 30th, something along the lines there. But then all of a sudden, they were like, okay, no, Higgins will be there. And I forget who on Karen Reed's team responded. I don't know if it was Rosenberg, Waters, or who, because I think Waters has been doing a lot of the depositions. But, you know, they're just like, okay, so Higgins is going to show up? Cool. Thanks for letting us know. How about those documents we've been requesting? Are you going to give us those now too? How about that? Mess. Oh, which, by the way, I think it's hysterical that Mr. Mazza Media, who we adore over here, I don't know if you guys saw me pop in that comment. He goes, oh my God, it's Boozy watching Boozy. The reason why I do that is clearly because I'm a talker. I don't know how to shut up. I'm an over-explainer by heart, by nature. So I know if I can condense these things down by my TikTok videos, I know we'll be able to get more things done in these live streams. I've already been talking for 42 minutes and I've only covered Brian Tully. Everyone's like, no, we like you talking. We like you talking. Which, sidebar, I'm a big t-shirt gal, specifically band t-shirts. She is not a band, but this is for all my pop girlies. Hold on. How cute. Oh God, the mic. How cute. It's Sabrina Carpenter. So cute. I love all the pop girls. Anyways, that was just a sidebar. I don't even think I can sing her songs on live stream because then they'll definitely just pull it down. Not that I sound anything like her. That's that me espresso. Okay. I did have an Alani new, so I am like raring to go. All right, next topic. Brian Tully is done. Thank God. I think a good segue from there would be Massachusetts State Police emails. So if you're behind on that, I've got another TikTok video for you that's going to be easy for us to follow along to. Essentially, and I say this in the video, Massachusetts State Police was told by Karen Reed's team, we want this for documentation. And now they're saying, well, we're only going to give you this percentage of, it's like 1%, right? And It's very similar to what any of us have dealt with in the county that have tried to get public records requests. This is what we deal with. So if you're talking to anyone that does public records requests, I know you guys know the names, right? The big names, the big guns. Corey Hopkins, Kyle Sharkey. There's a whole chunk of us that try to get these public records requests, and they always get denied. Always. So I want to go over quickly the Massachusetts State Police emails of it all, because of course they don't want to hand over everything to Karen Read. Why would they? Why would they? If everyone else is scattering and running, why would they want to give up anything? But also at the same time, why would they want to promote someone like Yuri Buchanek? I don't know. I don't know, chat. I don't know, chat. Oh my God. Corey's like, I love the Little Boozy videos because I don't have TikTok. Yes. Okay, good. I'm glad you guys like them. It also helps me, like I said, stay on track. So let me pull up this video, full explanation, just like the Brian Tully one, go into all of the, did I do this again? Guys, what is that? What was that? This is a mess. This is a mess. In case you want to know what it's like living with me, mess. Anyways, let me pull up this video before I embarrass myself more in front of like 1,000 people. This is great. By the way, there's 1,000 of you. Please like. I don't know what hype is after the live stream. Hit all the buttons. I don't know what any of this means. All right. Oh, that's too big. That's not, no. Boozy. There we go. All right, let's listen to this about the Massachusetts State Police emails and them not wanting to hand them over to Karen Read. Guess who else doesn't want to give Karen Read documentation to help defend herself against a lawsuit by the O'Keefe family? These fuckers' employees. Except for him, because that's his former employer, because Michael Proctor was fired! All right, let's go through this. So, July 22nd, 2025, almost exactly 1 year ago, Karen Read subpoenas the Massachusetts State Police, where she was pretty much asking the state police to hand over anything regarding her, John O'Keefe's family, any of the witnesses, any audio video recordings from Canton, Massachusetts, anything regarding the Canton Police Department, the Boston Police Department, communications about 34 Fairview Road, about Chloe the dog, the federal investigation into the death of John O'Keefe, any messages about gifts to any member of the Albert, McCabe, Roberts, or Higgins family, any messages regarding Michael Proctor or Yuri Buchanek, as well as any of the internal affairs investigations into those two officers as well. Although this was requested at the end of July with a middle of August due date, middle of August 2025 as a reminder, they didn't get a response from the Massachusetts State Police until October 14th, 2025, months later. A representative with the state police responded back to Karen Read's team, and they said that they only had searched for 5 items that Karen Read's team was asking for, and that ended up being almost 60,000 responsive emails. Excuse me, what? Flash forward to March 17th, 2026, where an attorney with the Massachusetts State Police tells Karen Read's team that out of almost 60,000 emails, only 435 emails are going to be produced. Which that in itself is insane, but then to top it off, they also state that they were going to withhold another 473 emails. So out of almost 60,000, they say only 900 were responsive to what Karen Read's team had asked for, but then they were going to withhold half of those emails, which, just a sidebar, for those of you who don't really fully understand like public records requests, this is the shit that we have to deal with all the time in this county when we try to get any kind of truth about anything. Like, they try to withhold anything and everything. This is a clear-cut example of that. I don't know how you get down from 58,902 emails down to like 900. Which they explained that a large portion of the hits that came back from the terms that they were searching in regards to what Karen Read wanted came back to this specific email address that they describe as a law enforcement advisory email list sent related to announcements of trainings, subject matter experts, a weekly list of detectives assigned throughout the state, and bolos. Be on the lookout. So, what? And apparently, two of the named individuals in this subpoena, Brian Higgins and Brian Albert, were recipients on this email chain. Which, cool. Thank you to the state police for confirming to us, the public, that Brian, Albert, and Higgins not only are very friendly, very close as friends, not only do they work together, but they're also on a fuck ton of police emails together, which reasonably can make all of us think, what other kind of email chains were these two men on that the public is not privy to of yet? On top of this one email chain, they also don't want to give Karen Read's team various news emails, public records requests, federal and state law enforcement emails, a Massachusetts Fusion Center email, the crime lab, jury escort, which I want to see those. Sorry, we need to see those. And then also some miscellaneous emails. From there, the various attorneys went back and forth for months until finally Karen's team had no other choice but to file a motion to compel, as her team did on June 10th, which by the way was in the middle of all the other fuckery, the Michael Proctor and Colin Albert not wanting to be deposed. So on top of that, they're also dealing with Massachusetts State Police not wanting to hand over emails. Karen's team arguing three main points. One, Massachusetts State Police never objected to the subpoena within the required time frame, and instead they waited months before claiming these emails were privileged. Number two, even if the emails were once protected underneath some protective order by the DA's office, that criminal case is over because Karen Read was acquitted, obviously, so those emails can now be handed over. And number three, the state police never gave her team a privilege log, so without that privilege log, neither Karen nor the court can evaluate whether the privilege claim is legitimate. To which the state police opposed, and the only thing that they really argued is that the 473 emails were attorney work product. They argued that those emails contain attorneys' mental impressions and legal strategy, and that just because the criminal cases are over doesn't mean they still aren't protected. To which Karen's team then puts in their own reply where they say that the state police completely ignored the biggest issue. They are literally just relying on the Norfolk County DA's privilege claim instead of asserting and supporting its own. Again, the state police never properly objected, they never justified withholding the emails, and they never provided a privilege log. And then came more fuckery, because Judge Gildea put this on the docket to be heard at the same time as the whole Colin Albert issue of it all, and guess what? The state police's attorneys were not available for said hearing. To which Judge Gildea obviously was not happy about. He says the status that is scheduled for June 26, 2026 was for the purpose of the parties reporting on discovery efforts, not for a hearing on discovery disputes. The issues between Ms. Read and the Massachusetts State Police arise from a subpoena served nearly a year ago, and the focus is on 473 emails for which notice was provided in February of 2026 would be withheld. I am not willing to delay consideration of the issues for another 9 days, especially with the established discovery deadline. And he said he was going to rule on his own without any hearing, because fuck around and find out. And he did, and although he didn't necessarily agree with all of Karen's arguments, he did end up ruling that the Massachusetts State Police must give Karen's team a privileged log by July 3rd. Well, July 3rd came, and guess what the state police didn't do? Give Karen's team a privilege log. Are we actually surprised at that? No. And then spontaneously, July 7th, the Massachusetts State Police files their explanation for why they have not given Karen Read's team this log, and they try to say that they never got the June 26 order from Judge Gildea, and that they only learned about this filing after Aaron Rosenberg, Karen's attorney, said that the Massachusetts State Police never gave over this log. And here they are again for the second time, asking for another extension of time. Also, don't forget during all of this that Karen Read filed a lawsuit against the Massachusetts State Police, to which this whole argument over emails from the state police has nothing to do with that lawsuit. This is in the O'Keefe versus Karen Read / Canton Bars lawsuit. If the state police clearly don't want to be transparent or comply with court orders, what's going to happen down the line when they're in the thick of their own lawsuit? Time can only tell.
Literally, time can only tell. So that is just a little snippet
of what all of us deal with behind the scenes when it comes to public records requests. Like, so say for instance, we'll put in a request for the Canton Police Department. They'll say, okay, for these terms or whatnot, these emails, we're getting, 12,000 hits. Okay, cool. Produce them. Okay. It's going to cost this much. Okay. Thankfully, Emily C has got a cute little FOIA and find out fund, thankfully, where there's been some things that we've been able to find and help push and get. But then, just like in this case with the Massachusetts State Police not wanting to hand over Karen Reed these emails, there's always like an extraordinary amount of things, right? So they're saying there's like 60,000 hits, and then some terms were duplicative, which then that went down to 48,000. But then they went from 48,000 down to like 900. Huh? And then from 900, they only want to supply 435. It's literally word for word what it's like trying to get anything done, public records requests. So obviously they didn't file in time, which was pretty similar to Brian Tully, where he also kind of sat on his hands for a while and then was kind of begging the judge, please rule in our favor. Obviously not. So I try to give a little hope amongst all of the duckery of it all. So at least there's some positivity there, right? At least there is that. Brian Tully Stafford's deposition, Brian Higgins Stafford's deposition, and we're waiting on this privilege log from Massachusetts State Police, even though they filed for 2 separate extensions. I don't know. I don't know. Gildea is allowing these people to have extensions, so be it. Okay. I'm so sorry if there are trolls, guys. Don't engage with them. I've got some mods. I just made Corey a mod because I know she was in chat and I know I can trust her. So just ignore them. They're I guess they're here for a good time. It's also funny when someone's like, why don't you shut up? You're on a YouTube live stream. Hello. You're here to listen to someone talk. Hello? Anywho. Okay. I think we should get into the Michael Proctor of it all. Right, chat? You know what? I think I need to say thank you again for some friends. So let me do a tiny little breather when it comes to the Norfolk County duckery of it all. Let me say thank you to some friends. Love your content. You are the best lady. Thank you, Lola. Lola is a good dog. Is that a little Chiwi? A little Chihuahua? So cute. You can tell when someone's an animal person because I'm immediately like, dog. Love him. Thank you. Oh my God. Hope you gifted another membership. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Brigitte, thank you. I spend all days with you on my phone through Karen Reed trial 1. Yeah. Oh, trial number 2 on TikTok. Yes. And Melanie Little on my pad. It was fantastic. Oh my God. That must have been a blast because you definitely got like 2 different ends of the spectrum. I am just like a disaster and Melanie is so like well put together. Meanwhile, Brigitte, you probably know about Coffeegate then. We'll get into that. Probably in the members only live. We'll get into that. If you know, you know. Thank you, Brigitte. Kyle, thank you. Been stalking your chats on Melanie's channel for a while. Glad to have finally found your channel. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I know I always try to pop in as much as I can and help support all of the other creators. They have been so kind to come into here and then talk about me on their live streams or do whatever. So again, like I said, for any of you guys, it doesn't go unnoticed. So I love you. Thank you so much. Oh, there's Brigitte again. Coffeegate. Oh my God. It was a mess. I have learned my lesson to always have a cover on my coffee. Always. Boozy, weren't you just sitting there watching the trial? I sure was. It was like 9:15 in the morning and that coffee spilt all over. My hands went wha-choo, and this huge ass coffee. We're not talking about an itty bitty. This coffee was made to last from 9 a.m. until the end of whatever trial day that was, like 4:30 p.m. So a mess. My dog, my younger pup, is still finding aspects of coffee. Thank you for cheap. Oh, this is okay. I highlighted this. Kim. So Venmo is like doing some weird things and like cell phone number things. So I did open up a buy me a coffee, which I think might be better than Venmo because sometimes Venmo has issues I'm hearing. So I did do buy me a coffee, which is linked in my description. So if you guys want to support me there too, you don't have to. You don't have to. I literally just made it because I was asked about Venmos and in the coffees of things, which buy me a coffee is not like buy me a coffee. That's kind of the name of the website. It's just a different way for you guys to be able to support financially if you want to make it private. And also too, some of you guys talked about sometimes if your live stream or video gets demonetized, it takes all of your things on here. So that's a way to kind of bypass that. Thankfully, I haven't had any issues that. But Kim, just to clarify that, yes, I do have the private way to support too. So thank you for asking. Carrie, oh, I highlighted this too. Okay, Boozy, have you seen the Karen Reed TikTok page that posted a beautiful picture of Karen? Do you know if that's her real page? As far as I am aware, if Karen does have a TikTok, nothing is posted publicly on her end. Not that I haven't spoken to Karen, but I think it's obvious when people are just kind of posting things pretending like there's someone. So as far as I'm aware, whatever page that is, Carrie, is not Karen. So just be aware, just like for any of other social media platforms, there's always going to be people pretending like there's someone else. Just be careful of what you digest online, right? That's what I always tell chat. Be careful of what you digest. But yeah, I don't think that's the real Karen, Carrie. Just so you know. Pro Gamer, thank you so much. They ask, with so many examples of judicial misconduct exposed, from bias to absolute corruption, they will continue with impunity. Is it their belief that ultimately, quote unquote, the fix is in? How widespread, really? So here's the thing. Do I outright believe that every single person is corrupt and everyone's bad and all of the things? No. Even right now, even though I don't agree with a lot of the things Judge Gildea is doing, some of the things I can still reason with. Obviously, if you saw my recent post, I was like, I don't understand what's going on here. I was like, I don't comprehend. and I've asked those that work in legal, non-legal friends. I've watched the law tubers. Everyone's like, what the hell? So do I think there is systemic rot? Yes. Do I think it's every single one? No. Do I think there are players that have gone along with things to protect themselves, their salary, their pension, their reputation? Yes, absolutely. But that's a part of it at the end of the day. So it doesn't make you any better. And this is the reason why I'm consistently calling out the people that stood with Proctor up until Karen Reed filed that lawsuit against the Massachusetts State Police and the Canton Police Department, where we saw those messages. None of those people have denounced Proctor. None of them. And in fact, up until that point, the Proctors were still welcomed at the fundraiser at the Canton Town Club that they held on Juneteenth. Up until that lawsuit was filed. If you think that Proctor was only talking about Karen in that way, and you just went along with it, that's crazy. Someone that talks like that just does not talk about one person like that. They talk about everyone like that. And I said this before in one of my old videos on TikTok. I was like, what's to stop him from saying that to talk about other women like that, including women in his life? His mother, his sister, his soon-to-be ex-wife, I guess. Couldn't be me. Couldn't be me, chat. Couldn't be me. Oh, and Hope is like, I appreciate your rant and the ability to keep your breaths. Thank you. Thank you. I was at one point a singer, believe it or not, which I think is a reason why I have kind of good breath control. But I also talk really fast, which is a Massachusetts thing. Like we just blah, 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 blah. That's why whenever I have someone from the South that makes videos, I always put it on 2 times speed because I need fast talkers. You know where I did really well is when I went over to Ireland. This was years ago, but I really got to get in like the boonies of Ireland, just where we went within the country of it all. And like they talk so fast and they really mumble and they've got thick accents. But I kept up because in Massachusetts we talk really fast. Kyle says, regarding Proctor, that day your name becomes a verb. That's the life of a Proctor defender. Oh man, Fervent, that's just the best one. That is the best one. All right, speaking of the Proctor of it all, let's get into it. Let's get into Proctor. Where did we leave off? It's a good question. Oh my God. All of the duckery of it all. So you've been following. Michael Proctor has been fighting his deposition from the beginning. It all started once again when Karen Reed filed a lawsuit against Massachusetts State Police and the Canton Police Department, where we got to see Michael Proctor's phone extraction for the very first time. Even though this had been in other filings and other proceedings, that was all impounded, sealed. Weren't able to see it. So this was the first time that we were able to see things regarding Proctor, which, by the way, a sidebar, this is part of the reason why you're seeing people like Brian Tully say things like, this needs to be impounded so it can't be used in other cases, because they are afraid of the public finding out things that they have done while on duty or even not on duty. Shady aftermath. Snoop Dogg. So it's like, no, I don't agree with that. Unfortunately, the first bite of the apple was Michael Proctor when it comes to all the Norfolk County boys. That being said, you know, he tried to tuck his tail. That emergency hearing was on June 8th when he was supposed to sit for his deposition. That came back with all the things. You know, remember during it, they were like, well, after this was randomly released, we were getting phone calls. Proctor was finding out things like getting harassing phone calls, which in hindsight, the way that his attorneys have moved the goalpost, like first it was phone calls that somehow the mainstream public figured out that Michael Proctor wasn't doing well. Hello. I think anyone in their right mind would know that Proctor's not doing well, given everything that has happened in his life. Self-imposed. P.S. Self-imposed. And then it moved to, which we'll get into, then another social media post, and then that goalpost has moved again, and now it's another social media post. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, chat. So again, this is all going back to Michael Proctor not wanting to sit for his deposition. And then he sat for his deposition. And now they're trying to say Karen Reed leaked something to someone. And now they're blaming Aiden, Carney, Turtle Boy. So let's get into these filings. Because what? What the duck? All right. Hang on a second, chat. Let me pull this on up. The teeniest, tiniest violin. It's incredible. It really is incredible. To know that you made 6 figures on all of our dimes. And this is what you are doing. Okay. So this very first one, this is Karen Reed, right? Yes. All righty. So where this lines up time frame wise, we had the first emergency hearing on June 8th. That is the initial emergency hearing where Michael Proctor was first trying to fight his deposition. We had that early morning meeting, hearing. Gildea said, give me more info. We had the 4:30 hearing where Gildea says, you need to sit with this deposition. Cool. Then the whole duckery of, something was leaked online about Michael Proctor's, his medical information, blah, blah, blah. We know the story. Then came in the second emergency hearing. That was July 1st, where Gildea just sat on his bench, gave out a 15-minute speech, gave no other parties to answer anything, and then walked up the bench. And then, as someone who was there, Damon Seligson and Alan Jackson, both for Karen Reed, were like, hey, can we say something? To which the court clerk went back, came back out, and said, nope, that's it. And then Diller started laughing. Diller for the O'Keefe started laughing. Which, again, now in hindsight, is even more interesting. Because we need to figure out how Proctor's team even got these screenshots of these tweets, X's, whatever they're claiming now. Again, like I said, they're moving the goalposts. It's hard to figure out. So, one of the things that Judge Gildea stated was that anything regarding Proctor is frozen. I shouldn't say anything. He said discovery, which every single attorney, those that work in law, have also stated that includes the deposition. So, rightfully so, after trying to clarify the record, which obviously Gildea did not allow, he said was improper, they filed this. So again, this is Karen Reed's filing in the O'Keefe estate versus Karen Reed and the Canton Bars. I always try to remind you guys of the lawsuits because there are 4 lawsuits right now, and it can be a lot to remember. So this was filed just a few days ago. Let me Okay. So we'll read this together as a team. High five, team. Emergency motion for reconsideration of order delaying deposition of Michael Proctor. They're basically saying to the judge, here are the reasons why we should still be able to depose Michael Proctor. Because remember, he only sat for like 4 hours. They started late for the deposition per court filings. Or should I, was that Rosenberg in a hearing? Whatever. In court, that was stated to us, the public. They started late and they ended early. Oh my God, thumbs up. I did it again. I need to figure this out. Just a mess. So they had a second date set for July 14th. But because of Judge Gildea's miscommunication, is what it seems like, regarding this deposition, they filed this. Defendant Karen Reed respectfully requests that the court reconsider its June 29th order staying further discovery of Michael Proctor. The court stated on the record that it had stayed the second day of Proctor's deposition because an attorney with an appearance in this case had violated either the letter or spirit of the rule. That statement is incorrect. First, the ex post that the court cited as the only evidence that its impoundment order has been violated was actually posted before Proctor's relevant June 8th, 2026 filing. Second, the information that the court claimed had been disclosed by an attorney was already public as of June 6, 2026 at the latest, more than 2 days before the filing or impoundment order at issue. Thus, the foundation upon which the court relied to suspend Proctor's deposition was mistaken, and the court should vacate its order to avoid unnecessary delay in discovery, particularly when the second day of Proctor's deposition is already scheduled for July 14th. We can already tell that Judge Gildea is not going to like the tone of this. Here they clarify this post, which we went over in a previous live stream. The post in question was created at 10:52 a.m. Eastern Time. The court stated at hearing that it was staying further discovery of Proctor because Proctor's counsel sent certain impounded pleadings and exhibits to the court and counsel at 2:22 p.m. on June 8th, and the X post in question was created exactly 30 minutes after the email to counsel of record and contained information similar to the information contained in Proctor's filing. That is incorrect. Whoever figured this out, by the way, you guys are geniuses in regards to this time change of it all. As the court can see below, the post in question, which was provided to the court by Proctor's counsel in a letter that prompted the court's June 30 order. That's important. As the court can see below, the X post in question, which was provided to the court by Proctor's counsel. So, we finally have an answer on that, chat. It was Proctor's counsel that sent the court and what seemingly looks like all of the attorneys, which is what they're supposed to do. If you guys were here previously, I went over all of the ex parte things of it all, where I quite literally pulled up mass.gov and we read it in regular terms. And then I also did it in like layman's terms for all of us to understand, because I need the layman's terms explanation for these type of things. So it looks like protocol was followed on that. So there was no person from social media emailing the judge like some of us thought, or maybe we kind of threw out there as a theory. But the question is, who sent this to Proctor's counsel? We'll get into that in a little bit. So at least we know now that Proctor's counsel did put in Aiden Carney's tweet with a different timestamp and sent it to the court and the parties. So it goes on. The image provided by Proctor's counsel had a 2:52 p.m. timestamp. However, that is because it was apparently accessed by a user without an X account, which defaults the time zone to Coordinated Universal Time, UTC. If you watched Karen Reed Trial 2, we heard all about this, which is 4 hours ahead of Eastern Time. And they even include the information, the link from X regarding their time zones. And then when accessed by a user with an account set to Eastern Time, the post appears as follows. Oh, look at that. 10:52 a.m. Chat, we know this because we went over this. I missed them. I like the footnotes. Footnotes is where the juice is. Footnote 1, Reed's counsel was prepared to present the evidence presented here at the July 1st in-person hearing. However, after delivering its prepared remarks, the court left the bench and refused to allow any party to be heard. True? True. But I don't think Judge Gildea is going to like the refuse to allow any party to be heard. It's true. It's true. But sometimes you got to put in a little cushion. You know, don't have someone sit right on the pin. Put a little cushion. Footnote 2. Reed brings this motion on an emergency basis because the second day of Proctor's deposition is already scheduled for July 14th, and all counsel and parties have already planned for that date. It is particularly important to protect the scheduled date because Proctor previously asserted that he had limited availability. True, he did. It would be unduly and unnecessarily costly and burdensome to force Reed to miss a previously scheduled deposition day because of the order, which was based on an incorrect premise. True. Were Reed to serve this motion via Rule 9A, the oppositions would not be due until after that currently scheduled date, which, by the way, is something we're kind of seeing over and over again, where the judge says, follow Rule 9A, 9C, 9D, which is, in layman's terms, I know has different time constraints that they have to abide by. And so what they're trying to do is okay, we want to follow what the judge is saying. However, at the same time, the judge is saying that we need to, as an example, get together by a certain day, have an agreement with all the parties, which obviously is not working. And then on top of that, at the same time, we can't follow that rule. So we're trying to follow what the judge told us previously, which was file to a motion to clarify, which the first motion to clarify was allowed. The next two were not allowed, and then everything was stricken. It's a mess. It's a mess. It's a mess. Honestly, it feels like ping pong. I feel like, or like the Pac-Man guy. I feel like we're going like this. We're getting pulled back and forth. And I said this in a recent video. It kind of feels like now Karen Reed's team is damned if you do, damned if you don't. Honestly. And then finally, it says the oppositions would not be due until after that currently scheduled date. Reed's counsel conferred with Proctor's counsel concerning this motion prior to filing it. So at least there was something there. Regarding this tweet, the message was actually posted more than 3 hours before Proctor's filing and not exactly 30 minutes after it. Therefore, it does not prove or suggest that anyone has violated the court's impoundment order. They go on to say, the information in the X post in the court referred to was public 2 days before Proctor's counsel filed or served the pleadings and exhibits the court relied on to justify its order. On June 6, the ex-user the court referred to on July 1st held a live stream on YouTube during which he stated that he had received the same information from a third party that was 2 days before the impounded filing the court believes was improperly shared. That YouTube clip is contained on the USB drive attached as Exhibit 1, which is exactly what Judge Gildea has ordered them to do previously. If you remember, it was one of, I believe it was Attorney Tuxbury for the Ham plaintiffs, Higgins, Alberts, McCabe's, that kept putting in quotes and whatnot, and then links to various live streams. And the judge was like, please stop. Like, just send it to me all on a drive because this is not working. I think we all get by now that Judge Gildea does not like technology, which is also partially the reason why he keeps doing all of these in-person hearings, because he does not like Zoom, which again, I understand. And also too, unfortunately, not everyone has the best Zoom etiquette. And there's been a couple of times that we've seen where people have not muted themselves and then like say things, and then that aggravates Judge Gildea. So like, just as a reminder, if you're going to be on the Zoom, please always respect and just hit yourself on mute before you even get into the room. Anyways, that's my sidebar. I always go off on little sidebars. Back to this. The following posts that also predate the June 8th impoundment filing also show that the information in question was public prior to the filing. So we have Sherry Thompson, who shared this, I believe it's 6/6/26 at 11:41 p.m. She says Turtle Boy was live. The source, though not vetted, states that Proctor had been at McLean and transferred to a mental health facility in Florida. If that's true, did he have a nervous breakdown knowing Alan Jackson was deposing him? Are the McAlberts concerned he is a weak link? I mean, he is kind of a weak link. If you're having a mental breakdown, you're not doing good, buddy. This footnote states, Reed is mindful of the court's prior statement to counsel that social media posts are not evidence. True. However, they are relevant here because the court expressly relied on social media posts as justification for its order. Also true. Yeah. See what I mean? Here's the ping pong again. Social media is not evidence. Oh, but now we're going to say you can't do anything else regarding Proctor regarding social media. And I know my chair is squeaky. I'm sorry, guys. I tried WD-40. I tried. I may just need a whole new chair, which this is a new chair. Roll with it, chat. Then there's also this other tweet that occurred prior to Aidan Carney's tweet, where Betty Boop says on June 7th, 2026 at 7:24 p.m., they state, I'm sorry, but if Proctor is in a hospital in Florida, did they not know this before the close of business on Friday? Good question. The court's remedy for what it incorrectly determined was a violation of its impoundment order has primarily impacted Reed, who is the party who subpoenaed Proctor, began taking his deposition, scheduled a second day of testimony, and has spent significant resources compelling and taking his testimony. Additionally, despite the fact that there is no evidence of any violation of the court's impoundment order, Reed has, as the court instructed, made a proposal to all parties concerning an order which she agreed to propose to the court concerning deponent's medical information. No other party has responded to Reed's proposal. Oh my God. You're joking. So when anyone tries to say that this is not a gang up on Karen Reed, what is the excuse for that? What is the excuse for that? No one's going to play ball? Hasn't Judge Gildea said time and time again, you all need to get your crap together and communicate? But then again, a good argument against that is clearly Judge Gildea is also feeding into the miscommunication of it all. So how can you expect the attorneys to communicate when also Judge Gildea is doing things? Your guess is as good as mine, chat. Your guess is as good as mine. This comes on the heels of Reed earlier proposing to all counsel that witnesses' testimony in transcript, audio, or video form only be used for the ongoing litigation and not otherwise disseminated. So we go back to the Brian Tully, right? We just went over that. What did he just file on July 6th? Make sure none of this is disseminated. Okay, Reed agrees. Hello? And then no one else wants to respond to them. Can't. As Reed indicated previously, the plaintiffs have never responded to that proposal. The plaintiffs or multiple follow-ups. The plaintiffs. Do you guys know who the plaintiffs are? Ridiculous. Let me pop into chat for a second. Right? Remember this specific case that we are talking about. The plaintiffs are the O'Keefes. So you got Proctor not answering. You got the O'Keefes not answering. The bars, apparently. The bars are kind of like, you know, So no one's answering. This is insane. This is absolutely insane. Insane. Under these circumstances, and to prevent further prejudice to Reed, the court should reconsider its order, vacate it, and permit Reed to proceed with Proctor's deposition on July 14th. Basically, Gildea, we're trying. No one's answering us. What else are we supposed to do here? We're trying. We're trying. And we have 4 lawsuits to deal with. And we're still trying. No one's answering us. We are for defending Karen Reed respectfully request that the court reconsider its June 30th, 2026 order and vacate its stay of discovery from Michael Proctor. Respectfully, Aaron Rosenberg, all of her team. And that's it for that one. I can't. But that's not the end of it. Because then we have an opposition. If you guys don't know, Massachusetts likes everything filed all in a nice cute packet. I call it cute packets. So we get everything all at once, which for someone like me, I do appreciate, but it really does. It can be a lot to digest. So this is Michael Proctor's opposition, aka why he thinks all of this is bogus. Make sure that's okay for you guys. Okay, we can go a little bit bigger. We'll go a little bit bigger so you guys can read it a little bit more. Oh boy. Let me make that a little smaller. Okay. Rolling with the punches here. So this is non-party. Don't you like how he has to make that clear? I am not a party in this matter. I'm getting sued in federal court. Judge Gildea, not here. Yeah, but you were the lead detective, case officer, whatever you want to call yourself, Mr. Proctor, for the John O'Keefe death investigation. You are very important to the O'Keefe versus Karen Reed / Canton Bars lawsuit. Anywho, non-party Michael Proctor's opposition to Karen Reed's emergency motion for reconsideration of order delaying deposition of Michael Proctor. So remember where we're coming off of, right? We learned that no one is answering Karen Reed in regards to any of this, any of the things Judge Gildea has asked for. And we just learned that it was Proctor's team who emailed everyone that Aidan Carney tweet that was tweeted at 10:52 a.m. that they tried to say was 2:52 p.m., 30 minutes after the impounded health medical information was inputted, filed by Michael Proctor's team. That's what we know thus far. Getting more into the nitty-gritty, this is what his team says. Non-party Michael Proctor hereby submits this opposition to Karen Reed's emergency motion for reconsideration of order delaying deposition of Michael Proctor. Cognizant of this court's admonishment to all counsel on July 1st, 2026, and Rule 3.6 of the Massachusetts Rules of Professional Conduct, Mr. Proctor will be brief. So just so you know, it's kind of bogus they put that little dig in there because this one is 7 pages and Karen's was 8. So like they're both being brief. Like that was just a little suck up moment to Judge Gildea. As an initial matter, Ms. Reed's motion should be denied because it fails to even address the fact that information regarding Mr. Proctor's medical condition and his deposition was disseminated by Aidan Carney, aka Turtle Boy, within 30 minutes of the conclusion of Mr. Proctor's June 25th, 2026 deposition. That's not what happened. Specifically on June 25th, 2026 at 5:30 p.m. Oh, here we go with moving the goalpost, chat. Specifically on June 25th, 2026 at 5:30 p.m. Mr. Carney posted on his X account at Dr. Turtleboy as follows. Breaking news. Michael Proctor claimed, and they bolded claimed, to have a panic attack today and left his deposition. Emphasis added. Yes, we know that. I have personally verified that he was seen outside being consoled by his lawyers who were asking him if he could continue. No word yet if he did. The information was accessed by a user with an X account. A screenshot of the X post follows. Moving the damn goalpost. That's what this is. This is horse poop. This is nonsense. The whole reason why they even had that emergency hearing on July 1st was because the tweet they were referencing that Proctor's attorneys sent to everyone, including the court, the judge, was a tweet from June 8th that wasn't sent until June 25th. This is what I said in my other live stream regarding this. It seems like someone held on to that crap until they finally had the moment to finally do something with it. But now they're saying that's not the tweet we're talking about. You want to know why? Because they clearly freaking see some nonsense around that occurred. Someone who was not logged into Twitter that made the tweet look like it was 4 hours later and 30 minutes after this sealed health information was filed by Proctor's team, made it look like there was some leak, again trying to make it look like Karen Reed and Aidan Carney are conspiring, which, as a reminder, is a part of not one but two current lawsuits, right? That is a part of the emotional distress claims in the O'Keefe versus Karen Reed and Canton Bars lawsuit. It is also a claim in the defamation case where it's the Ham plaintiffs, Higgins, Alberts, McCabe's, versus Karen Reed and Aidan Carney. And they're going to try to say they're not all working in cahoots together. My speculation. So they're moving the goalpost. So now it's not the tweet that they sent to the court. Now it's a different tweet. This right here, this judge should have looked at this and been like, yeah, it's a little sus, but you said initially to the court that it was something, and now it's something else. That should have been called out. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. Chat's funny. Ham sandwich. That's the reason why the House defendants was good. But ham plaintiffs, I like that one so much more. The hams. That's why when people don't know what you're talking about, I'm like, oh, they're just the hams. Just call them hams. So as you can see, obviously, that's the tweet that they're now referencing, which is not the same tweet as before. It's just fucking, it's insane. This shit's insane. In point of fact, Mr. Proctor did continue his deposition. Ooh, did he? Didn't they not want any of this disseminated? And here they go disseminating Mr. Proctor's deposition. In point of fact, Mr. Proctor did continue his deposition, and the deposition was suspended shortly after 5 p.m. Assuming arguendo, I like how they italicize that the exit count did not default to 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So now they're trying to throw it back at Karen Reed's time. Yeah, well, that first tweet we said, yeah, well, that's a valid argument. But now this tweet, that's not a valid argument because you can tell it was tweeted right after Proctor's deposition ended. And given that this X post was accessed by a user with an X account, Mr. Kearney posted on X within 30 minutes of the conclusion of Mr. Proctor's deposition that Mr. Proctor claimed to had a panic attack and left his deposition. And then this footnote states, Mr. Proctor acknowledges that the X post reference in Mr. Kearney's June 8th, 2026 post was accessed by a user with an X account. Who? How did he confirm that crap? How did Proctor confirm that? How? So this makes me think Mr. Proctor, who was fired and decertified, so he's no longer trooper, fired and decertified former trooper Michael Proctor. And that's me being kind. We can name him all the names. So clearly Proctor either got this himself or someone fed this to him. And I've seen other law tubers question this too. Who the hell gave this to Proctor then? Well, I think we can name a few names. There are certain spokeswomen that know what seems like everything about Aidan Carney, that look at all of his live streams. There are obviously people that watch every single thing that Turtle Boy does. Just my speculation. But there are people that quite literally just hate Karen and Aidan so much. They don't care the truth about anything. Their opinion is they think XYZ about these two individuals. So let's just take them down, whichever way. So do I think Proctor whose mental health is down the tubes right now, is spending his time on Twitter scrolling and scrolling. I think it's easy to do that when you're in like a down in the dumps time. But usually when you go to these health facilities, they take away your cell phones. So no, I think someone else is feeding this to them. The question is who? You all can speculate in chat. You can name all the names. Okay. Mr. Carney posted on X within 30 minutes of the conclusion of Mr. Proctor's deposition that Mr. Proctor claimed to have a panic attack and left his deposition. Accordingly, the fact that Turtle Boy, I don't like how they keep going back from Mr. Carney, Aiden Carney to Turtle Boy. Just have one name. Oh, sorry, that's just the ADHD in me. Accordingly, the fact that Turtle Boy posted that Mr. Proctor left the deposition but had no word that he did continue the deposition strongly implies that Turtle Boy had this information while the deposition was ongoing. No. More importantly, the fact that Turtle Boy posted that Mr. Proctor claimed to have a panic attack today and left his deposition implies that Turtle Boy was aware of what was said during the confines of the deposition. That is such a big hoop. There's a footnote. What a jump. Did you break your arm from that jump? As noted above, in response to another ex-user's request that Mr. Carney post the pic, Mr. Carney responded, "Can't, unfortunately." Well, we'll see that he did. We will see that he sure did. Don't worry, guys. I got it for us. To be clear, at no point has Mr. Proctor pointed the finger or otherwise accused any counsel or party of disseminating impounded information. You don't have to say someone did something without you actually implying it. We know exactly what you're doing. Given the context of other filings, we know what you're doing. Like, I can't. We're not saying you did it, but we're saying you did it. Mr. Proctor takes no position on that point. Bullshit. Lies. Lies. If you don't have any problem with being deposed by Karen Reed, why don't you just be deposed? I can't. Given, however, oh man, just getting hot and bothered. I'm a little sunburned. I'm a little hot and bothered. Given, however, the existence of the court's orders of impoundment and the sensitive nature of the impounded information, Mr. Proctor felt it appropriate to bring to the court's attention information which was created a reasonable inference of a violation of the court's orders. This judge should have not taken this, the second tweet. As the court noted during the July 1st, 2026 hearing, all parties and counsel certified to the lack of knowledge as to any facts regarding the potential dissemination of the impounded information. Yes, exactly. Like, do they not comprehend that there are many of us that have people that reach out to us that are not a part of any of the teams? Because believe it or not, unlike some other folks, and I'm not talking about Aiden Connie here, some other folks that have been in Discord servers, text message threads, things of that nature with other individuals, doesn't mean that's happening on the other side either. Believe it or not, there are plenty of people that have been in the lives of some of these, we'll call them May players, that are no longer in the main players' lives, or maybe they are. That's a story for another day. That are honestly sick of the crap and are just saying, here, have at it. This is the information I know. And then it's up to us that have platforms to use discernment and to see, okay, can this be posted? You know, think of all the things, right? All the things that we kind of have to go through and to say, okay, is this legitimate? Would I get in trouble if I post this? All the things. So it is not unbeknownst to anyone that we all have people that come to us. So the fact that they are jumping to the conclusion that this came from an attorney or someone talking to an attorney in this deposition that then leaked it to someone. It's crazy. It's actually like, and then the fact that Judge Gildea fell for it hook, line, and sinker. I can't. Now you guys see why I use the TikTok videos, because otherwise I would have been talking about Brian Tully still. All right. This goes on to say, Mr. Proctor's June 25th, 2026 deposition went forward for approximately 4 hours and 30 minutes with several agreed upon breaks. This man could not even sit for 4 hours? Oh, he's really not doing good, is he? Oh, he's really not doing good. What do you mean? You start 2.5 hours late, you end early, and then on top of it, you need multiple breaks? If he left that room multiple times, and there's other people in the building, outside the building, who see Proctor, who, like I said earlier when we're talking about Brian Tully, Proctor really is like the face. Outside of Karen and John, Proctor's face is one of the more well-known of this entire thing. You don't think people are going to talk? Hello? I mean, when Proctor just a few months ago was back at home walking his dog, do you know how many people reached out to me about that? Like, you don't think people are me like, oh yeah, Proctor's taking another break and he's freaking out. My God, are you obtuse? Mr. Proctor is a fact witness in this litigation and not a party. Despite having the opportunity to depose Mr. Proctor for hours, yeah, like he started late and they agreed to that. At no point did Ms. Reed's, hold on. At no point did Ms. Reed's attorneys ask a single question regarding Mr. Proctor's investigation into John O'Keefe's death, nor a single question about Mr. Proctor's investigation into Ms. Reed's involvement in that death. You don't want things to be disseminated, but then you disseminate yourself. Oh my God. Chat, we're in La La Land. I can't. I need to start writing down the things I need to create. I need a tiny violin and I need a Twilight Zone emoji. Because what? La 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 la. You can't. Also, just as a side note to this, the bias of an investigator, is that not worthy of questioning, given all of the things he said about Karen Reed? And we only know a portion of that. Remember that, guys. We don't have it all. We have very small snippets in between Karen's filing against the state police and Canton police, and then from the attorney Rosemary Scapiccio in the Miles King case, that motion to dismiss, which is a criminal matter, which was recently unsealed. And then the Sean Good internal affairs investigation from Canton police. We only have snippets. We don't have the whole shish kebab. So can you imagine what else these attorneys know? So guess what? You're damn well right. I don't even know how factual this is, because I'm questioning all of this now because they're clearly moving the goalpost. So it wouldn't be above them to also play some games in what Karen and her team were talking about in the deposition. You bet your bottom dollar, if I'm an attorney, that and these things come out in regards to the case officer, the lead detective, whatever you want to call Proctor, you bet this is going to be one of the main things I'm going to be asking about. Hell yeah. So, sir, on this date at this time, you said this about women. My client, who is a woman. Do you feel that way about her? Oh, wait, you do, because this is what you said. How many hours into the investigation? So 6 a.m. Proctor got the call at 6:45. We'll say 13 hours later, 14 hours later, he's in a group chat with his buddies talking all these things about Karen Reed's health and her looks. You bet your bottom dollar I'm going to be talking about your bias. It's not even bias. It's just trashery. Throw them in the trash. The hell? And now you're talking about things I can't. I'm in the freaking twilight zone. Instead, Ms. Reed's counsel spent much of the deposition questioning Mr. Proctor about various text messages that Reed's attorneys published in a recent lawsuit currently pending against the Canton Police Department and the Massachusetts State Police. None of these questions were relevant nor material to Mr. Proctor's investigation. Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. Shut up. That is a piss poor defense, sir. Sirs, I should say. No. Nor were they relevant to the subject matter of the wrongful death action. Shut up. This is all about the death investigation of John O'Keefe. Wrongful death action. Death. John O'Keefe. Victim. Karen Reed, also victim of Norfolk County duckery. It is very relevant to... I can't. Moving on, I can't. Such questioning can only be... Oh, no. Oh, no. Such questioning can only be viewed as harassing in nature. How many individuals did Michael Proctor harass as a Massachusetts State Police trooper? Huh? Planting evidence, which is what he said he did. Targeting individuals. Yeah, no. That's not harassing. That's called accountability. And they're valid questions. If you don't want these questions asked to you, don't be that type of person. It costs $0 to be a good human being. And you, Michael Proctor, per these messages, are not a good human being. Not at all. Oh my God. Accordingly, should the court allow Mr. Proctor's deposition to continue, Mr. Proctor requests that the court limit it to 3.5 hours of deposition. Seriously? What is it? Is it actually because of these whole, fakery that, things were leaked regarding Proctor's medical health information? Or is it because Proctor cannot handle being held accountable for his words and actions? I think it's the latter. As my chair squeaks. Finally, Mr. Proctor points out that on June 18th, 2026, counsel for Mr. Proctor requested from Ms. Reed's counsel assurances that neither you nor anyone on Reed's team will disseminate to any outside source, including but not limited to media and or social media platforms, any portion of the deposition, whether in video, audio, or transcript form. Okay, but Reed just said that in the prior filing too. What? Oh my God. Despite being the party that subpoenaed Mr. Proctor and the only party that questioned him on June 25th, Ms. Reed's counsel has continued to state that they will not provide such assurances. Well, they just did in the prior filing that we just read. And they've also tried via email trying to work with all of you too, to no avail. Woe is me. Regardless of whether the court allows Mr. Proctor's deposition to continue, Mr. Proctor respectfully requests that the court issue an order to Ms. Reed's counsel prohibiting them and anyone on Ms. Reed's team from disseminating to any source, including but not limited to media nor social media platforms, any portions of Mr. Proctor's deposition, whether in video, audio, or transcript form. Again, guys, this is all about a leak that didn't happen. And they're really... Oh, who did this? Oh, Matthew Hamill. Someone called him Abraham Lincoln in one of my other chats, and I am forever going to call him that now. Mr. Abe. Oh? Let me check in with chat. The level of gaslighting. Man. Listen, if any of you guys have ever been in abusive situations, whatever that be in your life, be it family, relationship, partner, work, this is the type of stuff, once you see it, you can never unsee it. Like, I am just like, and this is why I get so aggravated about it, not because necessarily I fully comprehend the law, but just the fact of like this honestly bullshit nonsense. This shouldn't be a thing. This shouldn't be a thing. Like, I need a break for a second. Hold on. Let me take a little sip. Oh my God, Kevin, how was your deposition? Honestly, one of my favorite accounts. Okay. There is another filing. I just need to take a quick. Been there, done that. That's right, Jermaine. That's right. Been there, done that. You cannot unsee it. And that's why you get so, not you, once you've lived through something like that, you get like a visceral response of just like the unfairness in a system that's supposed to be fair and transparent. It's called justice system for a reason. But we are talking about Norfolk County right now. Fuzzy Duck Puppet. I love that username. Say that 5 times fast. Fuzzy Duck Puppet. Fuzzy Duck Fuzzy Fuck. How's long to motions to recuse Judge G? I think I've seen some things on the interwebs with some of our attorney friends about recusal from the defamation case because of things that Gildea has been saying in regards to the tweets from Aiden Carney. So we'll see. I don't know. Oh, Brigitte. Oh my God. That's one of my favorites. Good, gone, bad. It's one of my favorites. Proctor Defender, though, is top tier. Top tier. That's the life of a Proctor Defender. I may have to play that for those of you who have not heard it. Thank you, V Kinds 80. Thank you so much. Beautiful hair. I must say, you ladies in chat, when you have your photo, and like everyone that I pull up has such good hair. Like beautiful. Beautiful. I've tried to be blonde before. I've said this before. I tried to be blonde. It didn't work out. So I went dark. But gorgeous. Stunning. V Kind says, sidebar. I just got done watching another platform and someone posted an article to be looked at on Judge G. It is from 2017 Superior Court Nominees Experience Questioned. Okay. I am not good at pulling things up randomly, but good. I'll note that. I always rewatch these and go through chat. So good to note. Thank you for that. Thank you. Oh, and a sidebar before we get to the Karen Reed's reply to Proctor's opposition. Everyone and their mother is freaking out about the lawsuit that was filed where Brian Albert and Judge Gildea are defendants. The reason why I'm not touching upon it, when I was doing some research initially on Judge Gildea, this did pop up. And I didn't mention it simply because of the plaintiff in that case. And this is not me saying anything negative about the plaintiff in the case, but this is one of those lawsuits where the plaintiff sues everyone. And I don't mean like Karen Reed suing everyone, because those are obviously individuals, right? This is a plaintiff quite literally putting everyone that they've had issues with in the justice system in whatever their claims are, filed that. So that's why you see Brian Albert and Judge Gildea, as well as it's a lot. There's a lot of defendants on that case. So just so you know, I'm not concerned about that at all. Like in the least bit. And from the various legal friends I've spoken to have also said kind of similar things. So don't be worried about that. The chat, you guys, honestly, can I just shout out to you guys? You are amazing. The fact that there's 1,000 of you on a beautiful Saturday. Some of you maybe Sunday now. Some of you maybe earlier Saturday. I don't know. Time zones are confusing. UTC is not my thing. Not my thing. But you guys are amazing. Like reading through, and I've got my phone here too. Keep an eye on chat too. Like you guys are just chef's kiss. Always remember to please like the stream and chat away. We're friendly here. We're friendly here. Okay. Let's get into. Oh, thanks for the explanation. You're so welcome. You're so welcome. Where'd that go? Where'd that go? Still a noob at this. Quinn says, oh, you're outside right now. Okay, that's fair. I mean, if some of you are by the lake, the pool, just listening, I appreciate you too. Lisa says, thanks for the explanation. I had trouble trying to pull up the case. Appreciate it. Yeah, I wouldn't, I wouldn't be too concerned with that case, just so you know. Okay. I'm chilling at the pool listening to Boozy. Heck yeah. And then E-Chase, my friend, thank you so much. Thank you so much. She says, everyone like and subscribe. Cheers, strength. Cheers, strength. It's my emojis look a lot cuter in the chat. StreamYard doesn't like them, Okay. And then thank you, Casually Kiki. Hey, chat, don't forget to hit the like button on the video to help support our sweet Boozy. You called me sweet? That is not usually what people call me. Usually it's not that. Oh, God. Okay. Thank you, Kiki. That was very kind of you. All right. Okay. So, little mental breather before we get into Karen's reply to Proctor's opposition for the deposition of it all. Like I said, guys, this is an ish that never ends. Share. Okie dokie. So, more about Proctor. Everything is always around Proctor. Proctor this, Proctor that. Because this is what he wants. For someone that doesn't want the attention on him, he sure doesn't know how to cut it out. All right. So we had the initial filing from Karen's team, which then Proctor's team put in an opposition. Now this is the filing, the reply to Proctor's opposition. It's a lot. I get it. And as a reminder, this is in the O'Keefe versus Karen Reed / Canton Bars lawsuit. So her team states, reply in support of emergency motion for reconsideration of order delaying deposition of Michael Proctor. In her motion, Reed addressed the information the court referred to as the basis for the order Reed asked the court to reconsider, which, again, as a reminder, was the 10:52 a.m. tweet by Aiden Carney that then was sent to the court with the UTC time of 2:52, which made it look like it was a leak. Then, remember, we just went over. Now Proctor's team, who initially sent that to the court, moved the goalpost and said now it was another tweet from Aiden about Proctor's panic attack, alleged supposed panic attack. So now Karen's team is replying to that. The court entered that order because it concluded that impounded information had been shared with a non-party. As explained in Reed's motion, there is no evidence that occurred. Thus, the order based on that conclusion should be vacated. I agree with that because it doesn't make sense. As the court and Michael Proctor's counsel are aware, Reed has already specifically addressed the different ex post included in Proctor's opposition. Reed did so in Reed's letter to the court in response to Proctor, first raising the issue in a letter on June 26th. Oh, that's the letter he was talking. Oh, Oh, I love when they fill in some blanks for us. Let me reread that. Karen Reed did so in Reed's letter to the court in response to Proctor first raising the issue in a letter on June 26th. Okay, so just so you guys know, there was another filing from Judge Gildea where he mentioned these two letters, which is what Karen's team is talking about here, that he did not put on the docket that we were clueless about. We were looking at this filing. It's like, what is Judge Gildea even saying? Now we know. So not only did Proctor's team put in an email, a letter, or something regarding the first quote unquote leak, but then Reed filed a response, which we don't know. We've never seen it because it wasn't put on the docket. Because Judge Gildea is pulling everything from the docket, it seems like. Oh, okay. We're finally getting some dots connected. Love this for us. I love this for us. As Reed explained in that letter, the post-Proctor cites from Aidan Carney itself states Proctor was seen outside being consoled by his lawyers who were asking if he could continue. No word yet if he did. Oh, okay. Someone outside of the deposition saw him and Mr. Carney was unable to report whether or not the deposition had concluded. This does not suggest in any way that someone in the deposition shared any information with anyone. In fact, it suggests the opposite. Right, because Aidan didn't know if the deposition was going or not. He just said, I don't know, but this is what I was told. Proctor spent multiple hours. Oh, we're getting the tea. If you're a member, put in the tea emoji. I freaking love that emoji. Oh, they're spilling the tea. Oh, this is great. I'm like a kid with candy right now. Proctor spent multiple hours outside the office where the deposition took place, and presumably some time outside the office building. Oh my God. Oh my God. Carney's post explains that the information he shared made its way to him because Proctor and his counsel were observed in public. The chat is all tea emojis right now. If you're on replay, crew, FYI, if you're interested, you can always like click the live chat option and see chat right now. I love my chat so much, you guys are. Oh, sorry, Kevin from South Boston about the ads. I'm so sorry. Oh, shoot. And that reminds me, as a sidebar, I forgot to sign up for the YouTube no ads premium on this account. I'm so sorry. My dogs take more importance for my no ads. I'll fix it. Anyways. All right. So now we know Proctor spent multiple hours outside the deposition. Great. So any Joe Schmo could have went up and seen him. This is what I said previously. Other social media activity provides even more detail about how this information become public. Oh, here we go. Here we go. This tweet, which was before Turtle Boy's tweets. Remember, Turtle Boy's tweet was at 5:30 p.m. on June 25th. This post on June 25th is at 11:29 a.m. So this is 5 hours before Turtle reported this. Where this account, is it Dexter Uteki? Something. They state he showed up and had a panic attack in the hall outside. And then Roxy McFly states, prediction or fact? And then Dex says, I saw it with my own eyes on a security camera, but cannot share it. Oh, T. Oh, Canada. Oh. Oh my God. All of the available evidence suggests that the information in question came from someone unrelated to the case. In both instances, whichever one they want to choose, whether it is the first quote unquote leak or this quote unquote second leak, in both instances, they're both incorrect. This person knew this 5 hours beforehand. Oh boy. So actually, when you think about it, let me scroll up again for a second. Remember, guys, they state, like I said, I can't remember if it was Rosenberg in a filing or if it was Waters or Seligson. I can't remember who. It was someone on Karen's team sent in a filing or at one of the hearings publicly that they didn't start the deposition until 12:30 p.m. This person knew that Proctor was having a deposition and a panic attack at 11:29. So we conclusively, as a public, can come to a very easy conclusion that Proctor showed up most likely on time. I think most of these depositions are supposed to start at 10 a.m. That's what it sounds like. They're all starting at 10 a.m., 10 a.m. to 5 maybe. That Proctor showed up and instantly couldn't be questioned. Like he showed up in a frenzy. That's what this is looking like. Because if you're ready to go for a deposition, God forbid, an interview, whatever, if you're ready to sit there and just go. And then you can take whatever breaks you want. But this seems like Proctor showed up and instantly was not okay, which screams volumes. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. We're getting so much information. And only good information from Karen's team. Go figure. Go figure. Go figure. The only one that wants to clear the record is Karen Reed's team. Who would have fucking thought? It's almost like we've seen this film before. Except, unlike Taylor Swift lyrics, we liked the ending because Karen Reed was acquitted. So, and I didn't like the ending. Okay. The remainder of Proctor's opposition is essentially a motion for protective order, which Proctor has not filed and Reed has not had an opportunity to oppose. If Proctor serves or files such a motion, Reed will oppose it. Thanks, guys. Thanks for telling them it ahead of time. They're like, F you. Boom. That opposition will point out that 1, Proctor's description of Reed's counsel questioning is inaccurate. Oh, here we go. 2, Reed's counsel extended Proctor the courtesy of delaying the start of the deposition for 2.5 hours to accommodate Proctor's stated needs and should not now be punished for that as Proctor requests. Facts. Proctor, you showed up and instantly were freaking out. So we, on Karen Reed's dime, sat here and waited for you to get your ish together. Why are we being punished for this? Oh boy. Finally, Proctor's statement that Reed's counsel has continued to state that they will not provide assurances regarding the use of deposition transcripts and recordings is false. Correct. We just went over that because that was in the very first filing and all this nonsense. Reed's counsel has repeatedly and consistently including a Rule 9C conversation yesterday with Proctor's counsel. You are gotta be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me. They literally word for word, for those of you who don't fully comprehend what I just said, Rule 9C conversation is just like basically what they have to do before they file certain things. That is in the most layman's terms that I can explain it without getting to the nitty gritty. I know Corey's fixing. She's like, it means this, booze. It means this. But that's in layman's terms, right? It's basically a conversation that's outside of court filings that they're supposed to do if they want to file other things. Okay. That's layman's terms. So what they're saying is even before they filed these things. They had already had a conversation about this. And now Proctor's team is like, no, they didn't. They didn't say that. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. Now I can see why the attorneys and the law tubers that are like, I could never do civil. I get it. This would drive me up the yazoo. Like, this would actually drive me cuckoo bananas. I'd be like, what the hell are you talking about? But some people thrive in this kind of chaos. I'm just glad that Karen has the team that she does. I'm glad that she had the team for her criminal cases. Because, oh my God. No one's perfect, by the way. I know. Some of you would think about the motion to dismiss. I know. No one's perfect. But damn. So they said, including a Rule 9C conversation yesterday with Proctor's counsel, stated that Reed will agree to the restrictions Proctor's counsel requested if all parties to the case agreed to them. That is fair, and that is what Gildea has been asking for. Hello? Emails evidencing Reed's attempts to obtain all parties' agreement have been previously filed with the court. Plaintiffs, that's the O'Keefes again, have refused to respond to Reed's proposal, which mirrors Proctor's. Reed respectfully requests that the court reconsider its order for staying discovery from Proctor. Oh my God. Oh, this is 36 pages long. Oh, is this the one that just repeats itself? Yes, this is just the one that repeats itself. Okay. I don't know why it does that. Mercury is still in retrograde. We need to remember that. Mercury is very much in retrograde. I can't. It's a bunch of hoo-hickey, hoopla, hooficky. What did Melanie say yesterday? I forget the word that she said, but it had me rolling. Like, I had Melanie on 2 times speed because I was trying to catch up. And then she said, I don't know, she said like, doobly gook, something like that. Duplities. Anyways, I was dying laughing. I was like, yeah, that's how we're all doing right now. Not well. We're not doing well. All right, let me clear out some of my tabs because I've got a lot going on at the moment. Okay. Is this Gildea's response? That's Gildea's response. Okay. Let me see what's going on with chat for a second. Melanie said gobbly gook. It was something. It was some word that just flies out of your mouth when you're trying to figure out what to say with words. It gave me a good giggle. We've all been there. Gildea did respond to this. Give me a sec because I want to say thank you to a few more people. You guys are incredible, truly. Brigitte says, Proctor, Hams, and Norfolk County DA's office will fight to never take responsibility for what they did. Disgusting. Facts. They'll always point the finger somewhere else. Always expect that. So that's why you got to be kept on your toes and make sure you keep all the receipts. Thank you, Brigitte. Kyle, thank you. Moving goalpost. Absolutely mercurial. And for those of you who don't follow astrology, totally okay. I get it. I totally get it. But just so you know, Mercury retrograde ends at the end of July. So I think we'll start seeing some things be clarified after then. I think it's like July 23rd or something like that it ends. So hopefully we'll stop seeing messed up filings and miscommunication, and we'll get to like actually moving forward. Hopefully. But right now we're kind of in the thick of it. So as I always say, careful of your vehicles. Make sure you get oil changes and all the things. Don't sign contracts. Be careful of what you say. Just try to keep it cool. Oh, V Kinds, thank you for becoming a member. V Kinds with the good hair. So pretty. Thank you. Panda Bear became a new member. Thank you. I got all the blondes. I love you guys. Love you. Thank you, Panda Bear. LJ, thank you as well for becoming a member. Thank you. And Scooby-Doo B, gifted 5 memberships. Thank you, Sue. Thank you. Okay. We've we've got a ruling from Gildea. So quickly too. I don't think I've ever seen him rule so quickly on something. Like these were filed and literally that same day he's like, no. All right. And this is very small. So I'm going to see if I can make it very big for us. And okay. Here's all right, friends. That little teeny tiny lettering at the bottom. Okay. Hang on one second while I move this over for myself too so that I can see it all. And that way we can all read it together. Oh my God. I'm on 200% on the PDF. All right. This is going to be a little challenge. I need to figure out what I'm doing with all of my wires too. So Judge Gildea's ruling in regards to the proctor of it all. I don't think any of you are going to be shocked if you don't know what he ruled yet. July 10th, 2026. This is his ruling. I have been presented with a motion for reconsideration of my order precluding further attempts to take discovery from a non-party pending further orders of the court, in opposition and a reply. That's all of the Proctor stuff we just read. Ms. Reed's attorneys are reminded of the provisions of Superior Court Rule 9A that a reply memorandum is to be limited to matters raised in the opposition, which were not and could not have been anticipated and addressed in the moving party's initial memorandum. The motion misstates what I said. He didn't have to do this, by the way, just as a sidebar. This is 100% ego talking. He did not have to put this in here, but he did. What I said was orders of the court have been violated either directly or at the very least in spirit, which, again, I can understand why the judge is doing this. And also, just as a sidebar, to any of the teams, if you're going to quote a judge, make sure it is literally like perfect to exactly what they said. I digress. I did not say what is stated in the motion, that an attorney with an appearance in this case had violated the letter or spirit of the rule. I also did not state on the record that I had stayed the second day of Proctor's deposition, but rather stated, because of the disclosure of sensitive private information, I temporarily stayed for the discovery of the non-party. So that's semantics. That is literally semantics. Because all of the law tubers and legal professionals I've spoken to have all said, oh, that's also the deposition. So it makes sense why Karen's team would also think that. I get it. But now Judge is like, no, that's not what I said. He says, I acknowledge the information in the motion as to the time of a June 8th post on X. Reminder, June 8th is the post with the UTC time difference, whatever, that was actually posted at 10:52 a.m., but was sent to Proctor's team looking like 2:52 p.m. Okay? So Gildea is saying, okay, I get that. I understand that. And as a reminder, that's the reason why that emergency hearing on July 1st was held, was because of that tweet, not anything else. However, such information does not allay the concerns that gave rise to the order, especially given the content of a June 25th, 2026 post on X. which is the second Turtle Boy tweet that was posted at 5:30 p.m. after the deposition. The motion for reconsideration is denied. I'm confused. So can he be deposed on July 14th or not? I don't know. I don't know. And also, it's just the fact that he admits and he gets the fact that the first tweet, okay, I get there was some flub up there, but also too, the second one now means more than the first. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand what Karen's team is supposed to do with all of this. Because it seems like whenever they try to file a motion to clarify, they try to confer, do 9C behind the scenes, like it just seems like butting heads. You know what I mean? And like, it's like I said, they're damned if they do, they're damned if they don't. Okay, this is what, let me go. So in spirit, I think that's something we can go over. In spirit, Corey says, I took in spirit to mean he thinks someone with access to the impounded info summarized it for a third party rather than directly handing over the impounded docs. Right. And this is why it's like, he's not comprehending, like I said before. People are going to see these things. If Proctor is having a panic attack on a random, I did it again. Oops, I did it again. If Proctor's having a knipshit outside this building in Boston, if he's, I don't know, maybe at a garage, you know, wherever he parked, wherever he was, he's one of those people that people recognize. Like, I don't know. So for anyone in chat or anyone that's watching, replay crew, do we have an answer as to whether Proctor's second day of deposition is going to be done or not? Gildea said discovery and depositions are two separate things. But he also didn't say that. This is what I mean. The miscommunication between the attorneys and how Judge Gildea says things just leads to more duckery. Like, it just leads to more confusion. If Judge Gildea would just say, do XYZ instead of just don't do XYZ, that would be helpful. Oh, I did it again. There is no expectation of privacy in public. There you go. There you go. Spacey says, why would he be at a facility in Florida if it wasn't an official decommissioning site? Maybe it's... I want to know who told him to go to Florida. And someone also too, I saw a comment somewhere that was like, shouldn't he be in a rehab for maybe like alcoholism or something? First and foremost, we don't know if he has an alcohol problem. Second of all, as someone who had, unfortunately, alcoholism and addiction run in her family, usually those facilities do both. Because if you do have an addiction, you have mental health things going on, which, by the way, who doesn't have mental health things going on? We're all a little crazy. Especially if you live in Norfolk County. I don't know why anyone would subject themselves to this, like me. And then make a public platform and speak out about this stuff. Anyways, but you know what I mean? Like, usually addiction and mental health go hand in hand. So any good facility is going to be both. And that's literally with like the steps, just speaking about like AA, the steps that they have to follow and the meetings. It's always about mental health. Always, always, always. EJ says, I did it again. I don't know. This Mac is crazy. Just also sorry, but who wants to be in Florida in June? I don't get why Florida of all places. Yeah. And also, who wants to go to Fort Jackson in the summertime? Which is it's a good way to flip over to our last topic. I think I have someone else I need to say thank you to. A new member. Thank you, MVP, for becoming a member. I'm glad you guys are here chit-chatting with me. And like I said, thank you to the replay crew. I know you all can't be here, and that's okay. I just appreciate that you are around to hang out. The long-awaited information about Colin Albert. Oh boy. Oh boy. Did I have any other media assets? I did have a thing on Proctor. You know what? I forgot to play this, but I think this will be a good video for you guys anyways, as like a reminder of everything that has been regarding Proctor before all of these filings. This also includes some other filings by Karen Reed's team. I'm pretty sure it includes some of the other motion to clarify. So how about this? I need to pull up the stream from yesterday. While I do that, I'm going to have you guys watch this video about Proctor. Again, it's another one of my TikTok videos. Boozy watching Boozy. Otherwise, like I said, I'll be here for another 2 hours talking about Proctor's filings. So let me pull this up, and then I'll pull up the hearing from yesterday so we can talk about Colin Albert. Let's do this. All right, guys, enjoy this. I'll pull myself over here. There we go.
This whole emergency hearing was bullshit. It's been almost a week since Judge Gildea said that something in regards to Michael Proctor's health was leaked to the public. And after looking at the timeline, it looks like to me that someone was using this in order to get one up on Karen Reed. Going back to the beginning of June, on Thursday, June 4th, Karen Reed filed her lawsuit against the Massachusetts State Police and the Canton Police Department, where we saw a ton of quotes regarding Michael Proctor's second phone extraction. Then the next day, Friday, June 5th, Karen Reed, Alan Jackson, and Charles Waters, two of her attorneys obviously, have a sit-down interview with Good Morning America and go into a little more detail in regards to this lawsuit. However, on Sunday, June 7th, Michael Proctor filed his emergency motion/protective order seeking to delay his deposition, which was supposed to be the next day, June 8th, citing personal circumstances. Obviously, he wasn't handling this new media scrutiny very well and wanted to skip out on his deposition. Monday, June 8th, Judge Gildea pulls everyone in for an emergency Zoom hearing regarding Michael Proctor's deposition. Judge Gildea grants a temporary pause on Proctor's deposition to allow Proctor to gather more information, i.e. supplement the record to see if it'll be allowed for him to skip out on this deposition or pause it for a certain time. That was filed at 2:22 p.m. and then, like we know, Judge Gildea said something was posted on Twitter/X 30 minutes later at 2:52 regarding these documents. Remember, Judge Gildea does not know about that tweet at this time, because then later on at 4:30 p.m. that same day on June 8th, Judge Gildea ultimately orders that Proctor's deposition will proceed, and he was supposed to, per the order, sit the next day. However, the attorneys weren't available, so that got pushed out to June 25th. Remember, also during this time frame, we not only had Colin Albert trying to seemingly dodge his deposition, where we had this hearing as well as another supplemental hearing, but we also had the rest of the Ham plaintiff, Higgins, Alberts, McCabe's, that also said they were not available for all of their depositions, all at the same time, which may have been part of their strategy to delay their depositions, because Karen Reed had to sit for her deposition on Wednesday, June 24th, which of course she did without any fights or needing a court order in order to do so. The next day, Thursday, June 25th, was Michael Proctor's deposition, where we heard in a court proceeding that he had to start 2.5 hours late at 12:30 p.m. and then ended early at 5 p.m., both of which were done at his asking. This was also when someone was outside of of the building and saw Michael Proctor essentially having a panic attack or losing his shit, where his own attorneys were consoling him. This was publicly the first time where someone visually saw Michael Proctor seemingly not doing well. Which then the next day after that, Friday, June 26th, Judge Gildea said he was advised about a June 8th Twitter post, and he ordered 32 attorneys and parties to submit certifications, their affidavits, stating what they know about any dissemination of the provisionally impounded material, and scheduled a special hearing. And of course, Wednesday, July 1st, we had the special hearing where pretty much every single attorney had to show except for a handful. It was pretty much a 15-minute speech by Judge Gildea where he warned that future violations could result in contempt, sanctions, dismissal, or default. Obviously, as you guys know, I was present for this hearing, so I was able to look at all the attorneys. And if you remember, Judge Gildea, after his speech, up and left. It was Damon Seldson and Alan Jackson for Karen Reed that asked the court clerk to see if they could respond in any way. The court clerk came back and said no. And that's when I noticed that the O'Keefe's attorney, Mark Diller, was laughing. Which is interesting given the context of all this, because who in their right mind held on to this tweet for 3 weeks? Not only that, who held on to this tweet and said that it was posted at 2:52, trying to make it seem like Karen Reed had leaked information to Turtle Boy? Because what I find most interesting is that in the O'Keefe's complaint against Karen Reed, they basically allege that Karen Reed was using Turtle Boy in order to leak filings. It's literally a part of their emotional distress claim. And isn't it interesting to think that randomly, this tweet that was not tweeted 30 minutes after the impounded material was sent to all the counsel, it was in fact not only spoken about 2 days prior to this hearing, but it was also literally tweeted at like 10:30 a.m. This was not posted after Michael Proctor's attorneys filed anything. And given the context of all this, I think it's fair that we also remember that there are very specific parties that keep complaining about Twitter and social media posts. That party is not Karen Reed. What this seems like to me is that someone is trying to pull some fuck shit. Unfortunately, Judge Gildea fell for this hook, line, and sinker.
Literally hook, line, and sinker. Okay. You guys are going to laugh because I immediately went to play the hearing and an ad played. Okay. So, for those of you who are on TikTok, that's literally how all my TikToks go. I always try to be as informative as I can in regards to whatever filings or non-filings, things that I hear behind the scenes. And that's always how it goes. So now you guys have all of this information at the palm of your hands to be like, okay, something's funky here. Something is going on here with Proctor. And it seems like at any given moment, they're going to try everything to try to avoid his deposition. Gee, I wonder why. Hi, Ben. Benny Boo Boo. Someone is trying to pull some shit. It's true. It's true. It's true. It's true. It's true. I did see a friend somewhere. I am so like, I love that you guys kind of roll with the punches with me because I'm still a bit of a newbie. I see some friends. I want to say some hi to some Boots. Boots, that's my ego boost. Hi, Boots. Scott McGinnis. Hello, hello. At this point, we're hoping Proctor remains taking breaths long enough to finish his tempo. Keep him away from the knife drawer or long ropes. No, but legitimately, like I don't wish depression on anyone, truly. But like I said, this is self-imposed. This is what happens when you do some things and believe certain things, and then you get found out. You know, if you're going to be saying some things like that, either say them again with your full chest or take accountability. He has not done either. And of course, I want to say hello to the Sweeneys. Hi, Brenda. Hi, Dennis. Mwah. Okay. Now, that leads us to the Colin of it all. Honestly, it's like, I can understand why all of us are a bit overwhelmed and how yesterday with all these filings, everyone kind of got up in arms because there's a lot of confusion. even just talking about Michael Proctor and Colin Albert. What's going on with Proctor? Oh, I have media assets. Oh, sugar. Before I wrap up Proctor, I forgot. ADHD is a biatch. Okay. Forgot the tweets before we go to Colin. As a reminder, this is the first tweet that they're referencing. Notice the bottom, 1052. So this is the tweet that they said was the issue initially. The reason why everyone got pulled in. Now, Aiden's like, oh, you bet. He's like, you're not going to blame Karen for this. So this was from yesterday from Aiden, where he says, here's a picture of Michael Proctor sitting outside his deposition on June 25th. He says pretending to have a panic attack so that he could avoid going back in. He's now alleging that this information came from Karen Reed, but as you can see from this still photograph, it obviously came from another source who witnessed this public display of shame. I don't think I can fit the day or time of this. I don't have it, but this was yesterday. Okay. Now remember, the whole panic attack original tweet was 5:30 p.m. on June 25th, which was the day of the depo, which was this, right? Obviously, that's the photo. And I was talking to some friends and I literally go, oh, that is from a security cam. That's a security cam. And I don't know who, I don't know what. All I know it's there. That's all that I know. But like the tweets, like the filing stated, the reply from Karen, Roxy came out and said this, Roxy McFly, where they stated this was June 25th, 1:49 p.m. But they said this yesterday. Oh, it's this side. Sorry, I know I'm backwards. I posted this early in the day on June 25th, hours before your post made in Turtle Boys, which is also what is in Karen's reply from Proctor's opposition. So clearly this whole nonsense going back and forth of all of this, like I said, is nonsense. It's nonsense. Foohickey. What did Melanie say? Doopity gawk. But okay, so everyone's like, who would have done this? Who would have done this? This is what I mean, guys, okay? Sources, people that just want to talk about how they feel or what they have experienced with certain individuals. They literally can come out of the woodwork. Literally. Like if you think of just someone like recently that we spoke about, James Sullivan, who lives in Canton, who has dealt with his own things. And like being threatened by Sean Good from Canton PD. You know what I mean? Proctor lying about his initial interview. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people that have been holding onto things because A, out of fear, B, the proximity to where they live, either it's Canton, Norfolk County, or C, that people are going to come after them and visit them at their home or visit them at their workplace. Email their workplace so they get fired. I'm never going to let Lizzie Proctor ever live that down. Like, the most wildest claims about people to their employers. It's crazy. It's crazy. So I can understand why there are still people like till this day have not come out to say what they've experienced because they are fearful of backlash. Because we also need to understand it is the cops, not necessarily the citizens. I mean, honestly, F the citizens. You know what I mean? The fellow witnesses. But when the cops are in on it and the DA's office, who's to say that you won't be charged with something because someone thinks something of something? Or if you say something, you then end up in a filing in one of these cases. It's happened to so many of us now. It's happened to so many of us now. Try to twist our words. Rude. Rude. And I agree, Brandy. Desperate people do crazy things. Desperate people do desperate things. Right? So, now we will get to the Colin Albert all. This is where we're going to end. If you remember last time, I went to that hearing. And I was sitting behind Jen and Chris. And then there was another hearing that I went to, and all of us were confused. I have since spoken to many of people, and their opinions of what should be happening regarding Colin and him enlisting in the Army, the regular protocol, and then the questioning of the time of all of this. Because the more that we hear about this, the more I'm like, oh, this is not good. And I don't mean not good in like it screws over Karen Reed. There's absolutely, without a doubt, and that I have talked to too many people that have served or currently serve in the Army, not just military, specifically the Army, who are saying this is a crock of you know what. So yesterday there was a hearing for Karen Reed. Again, this is the O'Keefe versus Karen Reed / Canton Bars lawsuit. Like I said, that's where bulk of this stuff is coming from. And it was a motion to compel. So we briefly heard again from attorney James Tuxbury, who is representing Colin Albert, because in the previous hearing, Judge Gildea asked attorney Maddie to figure out what the hell is going on with Colin. Because if you remember, the first hearing, which is where the one where Jen and Chris were at, Tuxbury had made some claims that Colin was in this 3-week school and then he goes off to boot camp. They have no authority over him. What the heck? Well, party. Cheers, everyone. This damn Mac, this damn Apple computer. Cheers. Anyways, that was that hearing. But then, if you remember, Tuxbury was going on vacation. That was stated in the first hearing of the defamation case. That's the Ham plaintiffs versus Karen Reed and Aidan Carney. Remember, Tuxbury was going on vacation, and then Pye, who is Turtle Boy, Aidan Carney's attorney, was also going on vacation, and they had that. I thought it was cute. They had a cute little back and forth. They were like, yeah, it's my wife's birthday. Oh, yeah, I'm going on vacation. Ha, 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 ha. Cute moment. I will take all the positivity we can, folks. So we had that. So Tuxbury went on vacation. So then Maddie had to come in at the next hearing. That's when Maddie essentially said all of the same things that Tuxbury did. And it seemed like he had just like test. Okay, never mind. Sorry, I thought my mic went out. And it seemed like Maddie had attempted slightly to try to reach out to JAG, the Army, Fort Jackson, someone, to no avail. I'm calling baloney. I'm calling baloney. Because if I can figure out the phone number to call in literally a 5-minute Google search, if that, it literally took me 2 minutes to figure out the proper phone number to call, I call baloney. Not only that, Colin, who is now, we'll find out now in basic training, has the names of the people that they need to know. We'll get into it. It is honestly, it's a load of crap, and I'm not falling for it. And I want none of you either. And for anyone watching on their side, just know that this crap that has been tried to be played has pissed off a lot of people that have either are in the Army or have served in the Army. One thing I have learned is to respect the veterans, respect the armed forces, because once you try to play games, it's all done for. So let me pull up this hearing. I hope it doesn't play an advertisement right away because I know chat's going to be like, Boozy, you have enough members to pay for no ads. I know I do. I know I do. It needs to stop now. Okay. Let's see what Attorney Tuxbury just said yesterday. Karen Reed case motion hearing. Okay. So, per usual, just as like a little sidebar, I don't want top chat replay. No. Okay. So just as a sidebar, I didn't go to this hearing. Truth be told, I slightly forgot about it. I also had other things planned. I can't go to every hearing. I want to, I can't. So just a sidebar, there are some things regarding this camera footage that is wonky per usual, which is usually the reason why I go to these, because there's always something messing up with this live pool footage, like clockwork. So this cuts in after Gildea is already saying things. And I don't know if he had only said only a couple of sentences in this cut in, or if there was something else. Because previously, when this pool camera footage has been an issue, there has been quite a few things, important things from these hearings that weren't caught on the camera because the camera is too slow. And that's me being kind. So don't worry. There's a couple of hearings next week I will be going to. Some actually very important hearings next week. So we'll talk about that after the Colin Albert of it all. All right, let's get into this chat. Yesterday's Karen Reed hearing, motion to compel in the O'Keefe estate versus Karen Reed / Canton Bars lawsuit. Judge Gildea is asking Attorney Tuxbury for Colin Albert, what's the deal? What is the dealio? All right.
To Mr. Colin Albert. And I had indicated at that time, I thought it would be a great idea if more information was found out. So let's first hear from Attorney Tuxbury relative to the information about Mr. Colin Albert.
Certainly, Your Honor.
And just an FYI, normally for these hearings, I pull up Trial Channel because she's amazing. You guys don't know how much she does behind the scenes to like clear up the image, like make it look nicer, the clarity of the audio, like she makes everything sound so much better. Obviously, Judge Gildea is having microphone issues, and now Tuxbury is not in front of a microphone. Tuxbury doesn't really project like some other attorneys do. On top of that, Diller's microphone is on, and he's literally flipping papers into the microphone. So I apologize if it's messed up or you can't hear certain words. Fucking Diller. All right, so this is now Attorney Tuxbury for Colin Albert on the update of what exactly is going on with Colin and his military service.
Read this, so I apologize, I'm going to read it down, what Mr. Attorney Maddie did. So prior to the hearing, he had contacted the base asking about the inquiry we discussed on the hearing June 22nd.
Okay. Again, apologize for Diller. He just said Attorney Maddie is the one that did all of this, which is the reason why Tuxbury is reading from his phone. Okay. So he just said that it was Attorney Maddie before the last hearing who was trying to contact people within the Army. Okay. We just went over that.
On June 23rd, he received a call from a private Jordan Rosa in the legal service department at Fort Jackson. And he indicated he was returning a call to place last week. He made the request to Private Rosa about getting access to Mr. Albert, who, by the way, at this time, shortly after the hearing, he's now in basic training. So the 10-week basic training. The first 3 weeks was the initial school. He passed that. He's now basic training at Fort Jackson.
So 2 things that just occurred. The next day after the hearing, he did hear back from someone within the legal services of Fort Jackson. I've already talked to a few people about this. Some people were flagging that a private had reached out to an attorney. Again, I don't know all the things regarding the Army. I just know that that was flagged to me, that it's kind of weird that a private would reach out in regards to this, that it wouldn't be someone up higher from the chain of command. But also, he just confirmed to us, and this is for any of us that said Colin did not do well on the ASVAB. So then he went to a 3-week training. That is exactly what happened. He just confirmed this again, because the very first hearing that Tewksbury was at, he said that Colin was at this 3-week school, which it's a newer thing. So some people that were in like the Army that are veterans, like, you know, a decade ago, didn't know about this. It's called the Future Soldier Prep School. If you don't do well in the ASVAB, 2 different things you could do. If you flat out don't do good at this first testing and when you enlist, if you don't do well, you can go to this school to help up the number, the percentage that you do on this test, so that you can then go into basic training. Or if you don't do as well as you would like to, you still have a passing grade, we'll say. If you still have that passing grade, but then you want to get a better job in the military, the Army, which is called the MOS, is essentially the job. You can also do this prep school to then get a better grade on this test so that you can get a better job in the Army. However, it has been stated that Colin did not pass, and that's the reason why he went into this prep school. So if we remember the dates, Colin was set to leave on June 2nd, which means he then went to Fort Jackson for this 3-week prep school. And just an FYI, Colin, how old is he? I don't know, 22, right? Ish. He's a young buck. He's not out of shape. He would have been fine with the physical testing of it all. But it's the schooling, which is basically like math, English, reading comprehension, that type of thing, he didn't do well on. That's the reason why he went to the school. And again, I question, when the hell did he put in for this enlistment? Because the timing doesn't make sense. He would have gone in earlier in May if he enlisted earlier. Again, this is my speculation. It's giving the vibes that Colin, who, by the way, was put on notice February 2nd or February 3rd, when Karen filed her notice of deposition, which obviously didn't go to Colin, but his name was on there. And obviously that gets spread out to the masses. As they all like to say, is like the big thing. It all gets spread out to the masses. So Colin would have known in early February. He then was served April. The timeline of this makes it seem like he was subpoenaed, his attorneys were fighting the deposition, and then he enlisted. That is what it's giving. And once we get further into the Tewksbury info of it all, it just pins it a little bit more for me. So he said June 23rd, the day after, a private reached out to him who didn't know what to do. Okay. But now currently Colin is in basic training, which aligns with that time frame. If he put in the enlistment after the subpoena, so say early May, he then went for all the testing, all the things. Again, we're talking layman's terms, right? He then left June 2nd, went into this school, then retook the test, which he obviously passed for. Then what happens is there usually is like a week of holding. Again, I'm talking layman's terms. I know everyone that's a veteran in the chat is like, boozy. This is the terminology. There's like a week of holding. Then they go into basic training. I hate that I do this much research. Honestly, I hate it. This is where we're leading to.
Private Rosa indicated that he was unaware of what process it would have. On June 26, 2026, Attorney Maddie received a call from Sergeant Lucas Vaughn at the Trial Defense Services of Fort Jackson. He indicated he would ask about getting access to him from basic training for purpose of subpoena. He was told, quote, "That's not happening."
Wrong. So on June 26th, now it's a sergeant. So remember, there's private, and then up is sergeant. Now there's a sergeant saying, oh, hey, yeah, Colin, yeah, this is going to be impossible. Sorry. Here is where I question this. If you guys remember, through all of these proceedings regarding Colin Albert's military thing of it all, they have always said that it's going to be impossible for Colin to sit for his deposition because the Army has full control over him. We all need to question that right there because A, what happens if something happens at home? Say there's an accident, someone gets ill, someone dies, and Colin has to be pulled out of basic training to go back home for funeral services or hospital, something like that. There's obviously a way to contact Colin then. But also on top of that, Colin knows all this information, the commanding officer. Colin knows all this information. He's in basic training now. He has all these officers' names, whatever you want to call them in the military. He has all these names now. He knows, I don't know if it's called a group or whatever, the battalion, the infantry. He knows all this. Anyone that is sending him mail knows this now, which means his attorneys know this. This is why I'm getting so frustrated because the people that have told me things, I'm like, this is horse phooey. So now this sergeant is trying to say, Colin will not, cannot, that's not happening, be pulled out for something. Now I'm going to question every other hearing we've been hearing where his attorneys have stated that this was a canceled subpoena. That is what they keep saying. It was canceled. It was canceled. We've heard it so many times now. But then you look at the exhibit of, I think it's Rosenberg's filings in relation to Colin's deposition. Literally the email says rescheduled. And at the last hearing, even though Maddie kept trying to say it's canceled, Judge Gildea still said, no, it's not canceled. And even though Attorney Maddie was like, oh, well, it's so burdensome. Now you're going to pull a kid out of like trying to better his life. That's not fair. Judge Gildea said the burden is self-imposed. He did it to himself. He was subpoenaed and then he enlisted. The subpoena supersedes his enlistment, period. Period. So you can try to say whatever you want to say. Colin has to sit for this deposition. He has the proper information. I bet you his attorneys have the proper information. But they're not telling the court this. And like I said, if it takes me 2 seconds to figure out what number to call to check on a trainee or recruit, it's the same for them. They are not obtuse. They are not in no man's land, right? They know this. It's a delay tactic. And honestly, it's pissing me off. Clearly. She went on a rant. She went on a rant. She did. She went on a rant. She went on a rant. So now this random ass sergeant is trying to say that's not going to happen. And I did post this on TikTok where some people are like, well, I doubt a sergeant would say that. I don't doubt a sergeant would say that. If Maddie is saying the same things, that it was a canceled subpoena, and that was the sergeant's response. So I don't doubt that the sergeant said that. The issue is, how is this subpoena being relayed to the Army, Do you see the difference there? Because I guarantee you, if anyone caught a whiff of this in Fort Jackson, which I don't know they haven't by now, are they just so like out of the loop? They just don't see this going on? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. But like, that is where we all need a question, not on the army of it all. This is all on Colin and his attorneys. And I don't know when Judge Gildea is going to like have it click, but someone has to do something. And clearly it's not going to be Colin's team. And when I say someone has to do something, I don't mean harass Colin. I mean, there has to be some filing, some notice, some something that has to be put in to correct this narrative, because it is horse crap. It is crap. It makes me so mad. I just don't like liars. I don't like liars. I don't like hypocrites. Anyways, we'll continue. I'm off my charade.
Is what the sergeant said. He speculated that the only possibility would be a 30-minute phone call. He said that the training regimen for basic training is very specific and condensed. He advised that eating and sleeping are the only breaks that the trainees receive. He said that following his graduation from basic training or advanced infantry training, which is what he's doing, he'll be a permanent party member at a duty station. He's more likely to have access for a deposition at that time. On June 26th, Attorney Maddy received a correspondence from Colonel Jacqueline DeGain, basically suggesting that he would need the identity of Colin's commanding officer. We've now made several requests of Colonel DeGain for the identity of the commanding officer. Those have so far gone unanswered.
That is exactly what I'm talking about. So you have the June 26th hearing, Attorney Maddy hasn't gotten answers to anyone. Cool. June 23rd, a private says, I don't know what to do here. Then on June 26th, a sergeant said, not possible. Again, question exactly what's happening with the attorneys. Then on the same day, another correspondence, which it sounds like this was an email, not a phone call, because they said correspondence, from a colonel. Finally. And by the way, you can look up all these people's names, right? They are fully public. You can go and look up who they are, what they've done previously, their resumes, whatever. So now this random colonel says, we need the name of his commanding officer. Do you know who would have that information? Their mother ducking client. Their client, Colin. Not only that, usually what recruits do in these phone calls to the parents, to whoever they're talking to, they usually tell this also to their family members, because if you want to send mail or if you want to call in and find out information regarding the trainee, the recruit, what's going on, you need their commanding officer's information. There's literally a phone number that you can call, say, hey, like, this is the battalion infantry, this is the recruit's name. If you need any other information, birthday, whatever, last four social, I don't know. That stuff. And then from there, you can get all the information. Even drill sergeants' names. You can get all of their names. So this whole thing is not right. It's not right. Them chasing this is all delay tactic. It makes me really mad, because now not only do you have Proctor misrepresenting and moving goalposts, you also now have Colin's attorneys seemingly doing that as well. It makes me so mad. And the reason why I'm putting this out there is so that someone in the ether, one of these parties, can do something. I don't know what legally they can do. I might have to talk to my lawyer friends to see exactly what they could do, because right now, like I said earlier, Karen is kind of up shit's creek without a paddle. Damn what she does and damn what she does in regards to her filings. I don't know if Gildea would rule it as improper if they put in a notice or filing. But this has to be corrected. This narrative has to be corrected, because I guarantee what they're trying to do is push this out as far as they can so that Colin can get through boot camp, and then he gets shipped out to somewhere, whether he stays at Fort Jackson or he goes somewhere else. And then he goes into like, I think it's called AIT training. I don't know if I have any veterans or something in the chat. Whatever. For whatever job that he chooses or gets chosen for in the Army, he'll then goes to training for that. And I guarantee you that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to push it out. They keep saying, oh, he'll be available after his graduation in September. No, I bet you they're going to push him out even further. They just want to keep boop, boop, boop. AIT, I was right. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Anyways, on with it.
So that's the current state now. We've had several calls with a private sergeant colonel. So far, don't have the information. It's been suggested to us that during basic training, they control their life from waking up to going to bed. That, like I said, the only breaks they get are sleeping and eating. And it's part of the turning them into a soldier. So that's the kind of information we have now. I believe is in week 2 or 3 of basic training.
And that's it. Colin's in week 2 or 3 of training, of basic training now, which again aligns with the time frame that he enlisted after he was subpoenaed. I'm glad we finally have clarity on all this because I was like, what is actually going on here? None of this makes sense. Like, can you imagine as an example, I've like I said, I've heard from so many in the Army still and also veterans of Army that people have told me if they were like sick, something, they were sick, whatever, during basic training, all that they do is they pull the recruit, right, for the days that they have to, and then they go back in. There is an option for makeup days, or there's an option where they can just recycle the recruit. It's not that big of a deal. It happens all the time. This is what I'm being told. Crap like this happens all the time. Be it criminal cases, civil cases, illnesses, deaths, etc. It's not that hard to pull out a recruit because something's going on at home or other issues. Like I said, maybe Colin was sick. And they either make up the days or they recycle him to the next, I don't know if they call it group. We'll call it group. It's not that big of a deal. They are making this a bigger deal, thinking like, oh my God, you're going to upend his life, blah, 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 blah. Foohickey. I think that was the end of the Colin stuff.
Okay, thank you. Attorney Seligson, is that news to you? Or have you had communications with?
I would think it's news to him because he might not know. Because we were preparing this to get, and then we got the notice about coming today. So I kind of ran today. We had responded on the search terms. We did talk about search terms with Colin Albert.
Okay,
so we haven't had a chance to fill it in.
Why don't you reduce that to writing and let Attorney Seligson know so he can be prepared to make an informed response.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Just talking about it at this time.
That's right. I wasn't aware of the mechanics of where he is, but we are working productively on the search terms and narrowing the scope of the subpoena.
Okay.
So that's working productively.
All right. Attorney Tuxbury, you're welcome to stay, but on a Friday afternoon, you're welcome to leave too.
I appreciate that, Your Honor. I think I'll take the invitation to depart. Enjoy the rest of your day, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. So the other remaining motion.
Okay. That's what I wanted to cover from this hearing. Also, just a sidebar. Just a sidebar. What was it? Melanie Little was making fun of Tuxbury for having a backpack. Rosenberg also carries a backpack. So because Mel was like, oh my God, ew, he has a backpack. And I'm like, oh, Rosenberg does too. They gave me a good chuckle. But yeah, so on top of all of that, Colin's team also didn't tell Karen's team any of that. They are currently conferring about the search terms and what they can or will, or talking about what they should hand over for discovery purposes to Reed's team. But they didn't think it was relevant to tell her team any of this, which also makes you question why they wouldn't want to be open and upfront about the ongoings of Colin Albert's Army enlistment and times of it all. So I wonder why. I wonder why they wouldn't want to tell her team. Like I said, it's a bunch of foohickey. Hi, Kelly. Thank you. Someone in Sam's chat last night said Kaylee is living with the McCabe's. Please say that's not true if you know. Love your show, BB. I question that. I question that. I won't get into why I question that, but I highly question that. I don't think that's true. It could be, but just based off of some other things, I don't think that's fully true. I don't know about that. But I'll pin that from the back of my head for future knowledge. By the way, Kelly, I love your Frenchie. I want to boop their nose. Oh, Karen, thank you for becoming a member. Welcome to the club. Welcome to the club. What else did I highlight? Oh, yeah. Little Mama, thank you. Love watching you. I watch a lot of creators too. Same topic, different way of presenting. You are fun. Thank you. And I think that is really my end game here is that above all, sometimes I do get very serious. You can kind of see I go into some rant sometimes, but above all, I really do want to try to have some fun in the mess of it all. Cause I know, like you guys know, I live here. I don't live in Canton, but I live in the county. So all of this affects all of us here too. So it's just like, which ways can we have a little lightness and also a little grounding too? It's very easy to go into the deep end of the ridiculousness and the sadness and the anger of it all. So every now and then it's trying to reinvigorate us as much as we can. But thank you. I appreciate that. Kyle says, enlist during a war, you really don't want to talk. That's what I'm saying. Why would you want to delay this so much where it seems like to me, based off the information that I have now, you are misrepresenting what's going on and chasing your own tail? Why would you fight this much for a deposition? Like, if Colin wasn't in the house, why fight the deposition? If Colin left before John O'Keefe arrived, why would you fight the deposition? I don't know the answer to that. Chat's going to go wild now. I don't know the answer to that. But again, you can reasonably come to the conclusion like, well, something fishy's there. Something is off. Like, it's the Streisand effect, the New Age Afro Man effect. You just put a spotlight on it. And like I said, by Colin enlisting now in Fort Jackson, he just like now someone knows where he is at all times. This is why they keep trying to say, oh, well, the Army controls him. That's it. Sorry, no can do. Lies. He very well can be produced for a deposition. If he can be produced or removed for illness, if he can be produced for, I did it again, for a funeral, a wake, emergency things, he can be produced for a subpoena. Oh, a withstanding, agreed by the judge, still good subpoena. Muzzerlina V, thank you so much. Colin's attorneys keep calling, not emailing, so there's no paper trail. Sus. That's the other thing too. I was like, okay, so there was correspondence from a colonel. I would like to see what Maddie's responses were to that. Because if they're not getting all this in writing, I agree. That's also very suspicious. And also too, someone said previously that it's better to communicate in emails because it's easier for whoever to respond. They have the commanding officer's name. I do not believe for 1 second that Colin and Colin's family do not have that information. I do not believe that for 1 second. Every recruit knows their commanding officer's names. What are they going to say? Yes, sir. That's all they say? No. They have names. Oh, it drives me up a wall. I'm getting gaslit again. Gaslit. Oh, and also thank you for becoming a member. Welcome. I'm the problem. It's me. I love that username. Alan Jackson is prior marital. Yes, I pray after this he has mic drop. I just know if if I'm getting this reaction from individuals who have no connection to these cases at all, people in different states, people that are stationed in other countries are having this a reaction, like literally a visceral reaction to this. I can't imagine what Alan Jackson is thinking, who is still representing Karen in like her personal matter of it all. I can't imagine. But again, it's trying to figure out a way how to get this into the court sphere. It's in the public sphere now. Like I said, the more you try to fight it, the more us are going to be like, we're going to look into it. And guess what? We are looking into it. That's for damn sure. We are certainly looking into it. Kyle, you're so nice. Thank you for being here. Kyle says, I know someone that was the JAG for one of the services. He listed simple steps, and it was very easy if the subpoena was active before enlisting. Exactly. Exactly. I know I'm preaching to the choir about this, but like, I remember sitting in that first hearing being like, that doesn't sound right. Now, granted, I'm obviously not military. So, like, have I been around military folk? Yes. But I'm not like the most educated on the military of it all. Now I'm more educated now that I've spoken to so many people over like the past month about all of this. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense because it's nonsense. Nonsense. Anywho, I realize there are a ton of more filings that I need to go through. Don't worry, I will. If I have some free time tonight to go through it, tomorrow I can review it for you guys. We do have, I'm anticipating a busy week this week coming up. I'm anticipating, because let me pull up my calendar for a second. We have what I would consider 3 very important hearings of the Karen Read of it all, the whole sphere of it all. So on Monday, it's still on the docket. We have a hearing at 2 p.m. in Dedham. So it's Norfolk County Superior Court, where the trials went, by the way, for her cell phones. I can't believe we're still talking about her damn cell phones. I can't believe it. So that's going to be in front of Judge Doolin, who I really do appreciate. I really do like Judge Doolin. I really do. I enjoy him. So that is Monday at 2:00. So that is an important hearing. I thought by now she should have them back because Cosgrove, we're going way back in time. Cosgrove had the opportunity to put in, he had 30 days to put in an appeal. Because remember, he was waiting for a Supreme Court case, but he technically, per the rules, only had 30 days to appeal. He never put in an appeal. And I have been asking my friends regarding this, all the docket watchers. The problem is these filings regarding her cell phones are not like attached to any case because they're kind of a pain to like follow. Like you need to be very specific with how they're found. So he, from what I've seen, he hasn't put in any appeal, which by the way, we would have seen that by now. Like we absolutely, all of LawTube would have been up in arms regarding it. Mr. Betterow, chat's so funny. If you guys don't know what I'm speaking about, Judge Doolin is very funny on the stand and just the way that he interacts with all attorneys. He listens intensely. He's very funny. Remember when it was the last hearing, the attorney Rosemary Scapicchio hearing, where she said, why are we protecting Proctor, the unalive N-bomb, that thing. I think it was attorney Joe Krowski who showed up like 3 minutes late, but Judge Doolin was on the stand 2 minutes early. So Krowski comes walking in, and Judge Doolin's like, Mr. Krowski. And Krowski's like, you were 2 minutes early. He's like, yeah, but you're 3 minutes, or say 4 minutes late. He cracks me up. He cracks me up. I love the banter between the attorneys and the court. It's always a good time. So that's Monday's hearing regarding her cell phones. So that's going to be an important one. I don't know if Cosgrove is going to show, if it's just going to be Karen's team. I don't know if anyone else is opposing her getting her cell phones back. So we're going to see on that. Then Tuesday, we have a double whammy. So we've got at 10 a.m. Originally, it was at 2 p.m. It got moved to earlier in front of Gildea. The motion to dismiss. I'm trying to think of this. The motion to dismiss on Karen and Aiden's side for the defamation case. That case is the Higgins, Alberts, McCabe's filed suit against Karen and Aiden for defamation. They filed their motion to dismisses. So that's being heard Tuesday at 10 a.m. Then on the flip side, 3 p.m. in the federal court is the flip side where it's Karen Reed versus everyone. So that's Karen Reed versus Proctor, Tully, Buchanan, McCabe's, Alberts, Higgins, where they have filed their motion to dismisses. So Karen's would be on the flip side where she's trying to say, no, this lawsuit should still stand. I get it if you haven't been here in a while and you're just coming back and you're like, oh my God. So just those 2 days are 3 very big and important hearings. I believe that's the hearings for the week, because then on Friday, we should also have another Norfolk County document drop, which if you've been here, every 2 weeks, the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office has been giving from previous public records requests that they did not object to or whatever appeal in time. So now every 2 weeks, we've been getting document drops, which Emily C. has been putting on her FOIA and Find Out website. I am actually 2 drops behind because there's been so much going on between Colin, Proctor, and all the things. I've gone behind on all of it. So I haven't had enough time to actually dig in. All of this. Oh, and here's the other things. Chat just reminded me. Next week is supposed to be the busy week with all the depositions. In previous hearings, the various attorneys have stated that they're supposed to have a deposition every day, if not 2 depositions per day, just give or take, depending on the parties that are deposing the individuals. It's a very busy week for all of it. All of it. So that's why I was like, okay, there's a lot going on at the moment. I do plan on going to 2 of the hearings. I don't know. I won't be able to go to both on Tuesday. The more important one on Tuesday for media-wise, people being there, is the federal, because the federal will not be filmed at all. That is per federal rule. Like I said, though, I'm still filing that Supreme Court thing that's going on regarding cameras in federal courts. That is still a slow process. If you didn't know, there's been some things going on in the ethers where they're trying to get cameras now in the federal courts. But as it stands right now, that's not an option. So people have to be there in order to see what goes on in these federal courts, which is why showing up to Sandra Birchmore's is so important. And also now the Karen too. All of it. All of it. All of it. Like I said, it's going to be a busy week. We can get through it. And as always, I love to end with this for any of my Norfolk County folks. I know you guys are here watching. I appreciate you guys, but please remember that the date for the voting of district attorney is September 1st. It is not in November. If you want to vote and actually have a chance to vote, it's going to be decided on September 1st. So whether you are doing your early voting, your mail-in voting, please do not let the holiday be an excuse to let this go to the sideways, because anyone can be a Sandra Birchmore. Anyone can be a Karen Reed. Anyone can be a John O'Keefe. Just en route. We could go on and on and on. Chris McCallum. Like I could go on and on and on. So please remember, for my Norfolk County residents, September 1st for district attorney. My vote is going to Adam Deitch, simply because I find him fair, transparent, honest, and he cares. He's the one that's going to come in and really do it. And like I said, he's the only one that has said that he will reopen Sandra Birchmore and John O'Keefe's cases. Please remember that as you go to the voting polls, booths, whatever. All right, let me see if there's anyone else I missed. Nope, I got everyone. Okay, my friends. Thank you all for being here. I went a little over time. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for dealing with the quirks of it all. I always say this, please know whatever you're doing, if you're liking, chatting, commenting, if you're giving your funds, any of it, honestly, just you being here, even on replay crew, just know how much I appreciate it. It does not go unnoticed. You guys have been so incredible to me. And there's things up the pipeline that I'm working on. Don't worry, there's some things coming. There's been some things I've been working on for some time, for many months, that I'm putting some final touches on. Trust me, they're coming. Hopefully soon. Please be kind to yourselves. If it's hot where you're at, please remember to drink your water. Be careful of your animals that go outside with their paw pads. Please. And don't leave your animals in hot cars, please. I love you guys. Thank you to my moderators. You guys are amazing. Chat above anything else. You are so friggin' fun. Like, I'm so glad this community is here so quickly too. Like, this has been such a joy coming to YouTube. You guys make it easy for me. Honestly, truly, I'm not going to cry. Damn. Anyways, I love you guys. Please know wherever you are at, you matter. Please always remember that. We're all in this together. Even the ones that think they're not. We're all in this together. Da-na. And I'll do the poll for my members too, to let me know when you guys want to do the members only live stream. Mwah, mwah. I love you guys. Be kind to yourselves and to others. And don't be a Michael Proctor. Bye guys. I love you. I love you. Like and subscribe, hype, do all the things. Love you, love you, love you, love you. Thank you, Allie in Texas, for becoming a member. Love you, love you, love you.